You did. All right, here we go. Welcome to Intelligent Aces Podcast, episode number 9. We got a special guest in here, NerDadTPC,
Yo, what up, friends?
as well as my co-host, Ellipticus _
Hey.
I just remember my door is wide open, so I'm gonna shut it real quick.
That's it. Enunciate the underscore, baby.
The underscore
Underscore.
is important. There's only a million other ellipticuses. I'm someone from the StarCraft days. I just pissed them off so bad, and they made an account on everything ever. With my name, I guess. I have no idea.
So here's it. You want to hear? You said StarCraft, sorry, and I'm going to derail your podcast right out the gate. You want to hear a funny story about that?
StarCraft. All right.
So my last name, I don't care. It's not hard to find my last name on the internet, so it's not a secret. My last name is Husky. All right.
Fitting.
So there's a StarCraft 2 pro whose username is Husky. And so when StarCraft 2 first came out and I was playing online, people were like, oh, fake Husky. And I'm like, nah, but it's just my real name. Like, I don't know what you want from me. This is my actual name. That dude, we don't even spell it the same. Like, I got an E in my name and he doesn't, but I'm like, that's still I didn't realize it until Conquest and I played StarCraft 2 together, and it said, Husky Victorious. And I was like, damn, dude, I've had this account before the Nerd Dad name ever existed. So I was like, damn, son. It just reminded me of that with you saying a billion other people named Ellipticus on every other platform.
Trust me.
Welcome in, Bushwick. Thanks for popping in. Also wanted to give Nerd Dad thank you for the follow.
Yeah,
I
man.
wasn't online when you hit me back with that follow, so thank you. Okay, so I'll go ahead and ask a question right now off the bat. I was just thinking about this before the stream started. So I just bought a PS5.
Ooh,
Nice.
Yeah.
And I was debating on if I want to sign in with my old PlayStation account, which doesn't do me any good really, because I don't think PlayStation 4 accounts,
Well,
like your games and
all
stuff.
your digital titles, you'll have those.
Can you play them on PS5?
PS5 is like 95% backwards compatible with the PS4.
So I may actually sign. I was trying to debate if I couldn't be backwards compatible, then why didn't I just start a new account?
No, yeah. Well, you can change your name.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to change my name because that's my old gamer tag, and I've
And there's a lot of games that if you purchased, you got the PS4 and the PS5 version. So you just weren't using it because you weren't using the PS5 version because you didn't have one.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
I don't know about a lot of games, but I know that there's some.
I haven't bought any PlayStation games, and I don't even remember. I think Ghost of Tsushima was probably the last PlayStation game I bought.
And
so here we are with you purchasing a PlayStation. What a perfect segue. As we can see, I don't know anybody out there who's even interested in buying an Xbox. And today, the day after Valentine's Day, it will be marked in history as the death of Xbox, in my humble opinion, which is always correct. I'm sure everyone knew what happened or has heard what happened today.
Actually, that brings us in. I do have that pulled up.
I was unable to watch it because of the time that it aired, but my guess was that it was going to be just this is the dirge of Xbox. That was it.
It was it was uneventfully eventful.
You said
they made an announcement, but they didn't.
Was it on YouTube? The Xbox announcement.
I watched it on Jake Twitchin's special events.
Xbox podcast.
That sounds right.
That's what it was. The Xbox podcast is what it was.
Breaking down Xbox's future plans, and that's a review.
The guy they had too that did the talking it just seemed like so unapproachable. And then he started talking, and then it just seemed like he was trying like car salesman's tactics. He was following and then he made an announcement. It's like, okay, there's 4 titles that are going to be going, and now if you look online, they're going to be going to PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. But they didn't announce what the titles were. They did confirm that it's not going to be. What were the 2 that we mentioned earlier? Oh, Starfield and Indiana Jones. Those will be. They won't be the titles that become multi-platform. But that's why I say it's the death of Xbox, because you don't see PlayStation making these fake announcements. First of all, you can download and play Halo right now on Steam. So the whole announcement, all of it was just fucking sensationalism to try to like stir up, because there's been a lot. The rumor mills have been running on overtime lately about what's going on internally at Xbox. So I think they had to come out and just address the rumors, and I don't think they really did. I think they made people more concerned. I mean, in the end, and that's just kind of my take from it. Okay, it's a desperate move. In essence, it makes you wonder how many people are buying PlayStations compared to Xboxes right now for them to, because you don't see PlayStation trying to get their titles on Xbox. That's not happening.
No.
Right,
So we talked about it. We talked about it on my stream, like when this first kind of a couple weeks ago, right? When this was peaking, like, oh, Xbox is going away. Xbox Game Pass is now, or not Xbox Game Pass, or Microsoft Game Pass is now going to be the product. And the goal is to get the product on every available platform, which means Microsoft Game Pass on Switch, Microsoft Game Pass on PlayStation. Oh, I do too, for sure. But so I posited this question in my chat, and I guess I'll ask you guys the same thing. Like, what, by saying, sure, you can put Game Pass on the PlayStation, what does Sony really even gain? Like, what on the Xbox is so must have right now that PlayStation is going to be like, well, man, we got to do this deal, because like Eli, you just said, you can get Halo on Steam right now. Can you get Starfield on Steam?
Yeah, I think so.
You can get Starfield on Steam.
So
you can get the special edition on Steam like 6 days earlier before it was released.
So there you go. I mean, like, when did I ever need
Xbox?
When did I ever need an Xbox? Like I bought an Xbox One years and years ago, and the only reason is because I was streaming on Microsoft's streaming platform back in the day, and that was it.
Right. Yeah, I'm totally with that, because like they haven't. I don't think they've made a must-have game. I was never I've never been an Xbox guy. I've always been a PlayStation guy. I have played Halos, and I have played, and I've got the PlayStation controller behind me. So
I had an Xbox. They were cool. They were groundbreaking. They introduced being able to make your own playlist on your Xbox and play your own music while you were gaming. Like, that was fucking the coolest.
Well, yeah, that was the first Xbox, but then copyright came in, and the Xbox 360 didn't have that, right?
Well, I mean, now you've got like third party. You've got Spotify, you've got Pandora, you got everything else. Like,
yeah, so I mean, I've played their, I guess, first party franchises, Gears of War, Halo. I didn't play Fable. I just wasn't really my thing at the time, and I didn't have an Xbox. I could go over and play Gears of War with buddies or whatever, and Halo too.
Halo that was when I was in the Xbox. Was Halo the way back in the day? You'd hook up multiple Xboxes and you'd have like a mini LAN party.
That's what we did. We would bring 3 TVs and 3 more Xboxes. Somebody had a Switch, and we had, I don't mean like a Nintendo Switch, like just a 4-port Switch, and we would LAN our 4 OG Xboxes together and do 16-player Halo 1 at my friend Sean's house. And it was like, then we'd go ham. And that was what we did in high school, man. That was we were all nerds. So like, we weren't big, party scene wasn't our thing, and we weren't going crazy. We might steal some booze and smoke some weed or something with our friends, while we were playing Halo on the weekends. But like, that was it. Like, this was a great Friday, Saturday night combo for us. And like, yeah, so I'm with you. What you said, like, Xbox when it came out was crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And then Xbox 360 was like even better. Xbox Live was a thing. Halo 2 and 3, on Xbox Live multiplayer was crazy. Gears of War multiplayer was crazy. Hopping online and playing Dead or Alive. I had Dead or Alive 4 on my Xbox 360, and I used to play that a ton. And like, getting online and playing a fighting game at that time was nuts. Like, it was super dope. So it's crazy to me to think that it went like, Xbox was cool. The Xbox 360 was really cool. Mm-hmm. Xbox One sucked. And now the Xbox Series is just a non-starter.
Wasn't it the
it sucks for the hardcore Xbox people.
They
finally lost the war.
The 360 was the Red Ring of Death, right? That was when that came out. And then Sony, the PS3, so 360 and PS3 generation. PS3 had a few issues. Like I remember for one, the price for the PS3 when it launched,
Wild.
they shit themselves on that one because
I think I paid top dollar for that too. Like,
yeah, it was like the biggest one they had was like what a 50 gig system or something. I can't remember it.
There was problems with it, right? The early ones, the early ones had like an
Well,
overheating
well, so
problem.
you could buy like a smaller one or the bigger one, which was backwards compatible, but the other ones weren't backwards compatible.
Yeah. Well, and only certain big ones were backwards compatible too.
Yeah. So there's like specific ones were backwards. Yeah. So it was like a crazy, and they were what $700 or some crazy.
Yep. When I bought mine at Best Buy in 2000. Oh man, 7 maybe. I bought it and I bought Fallout 3 special or collector's edition, whatever.
I
got the cool little 10 lunchbox and all that stuff, right? And I think my like total purchase was like $900 or maybe eight something. Because I think I might have bought a second controller too. But I mean, console, one game, and like something else. It's like $800. I was like, shit, dude.
A story that I won't go into fully, but the PlayStation 3 is what caused my divorce.
Oh shit.
So I'm not gonna go into it fully, but
I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at that. That's a story. Like but that like it was that's gonna be one day. You should do that. Not maybe as an episode, but do like a pre-recorded something, and like that's gonna be a
PlayStation 3.
Thanks, Sony.
Well,
Sony, you owe half my annuity. Thank you, you jerk.
It wasn't started off with. By the way, I did buy a PlayStation 5 today.
So, I won't go into it fully, but like I said, it was because I wanted to buy one, and she spent all my money that I was saving up to buy one.
Oh,
so it was her fault, not mine, and it wasn't even Sony's fault, I guess. But
okay, can I tell a lighthearted version of that story then, real quick? Sorry, I wasn't gonna skip this part, but I have a story that's almost similar, not quite as heartbreaking in the end, but. This is me and my wife before we had kids. Actually, might not even been married yet, but it was pretty close. I think we were engaged. And we're walking around the mall, I think. And my wife was like, hey, we should go to Zales and apply for a credit card so you can buy me a necklace. And I was like, oh, hold up now. Because I had a Kay Jewelers credit card already from getting her engagement ring and some other stuff. I like buy my wife stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wait a second. We can go get a credit card at the jewelry place to buy you a necklace, but I can't get a Best Buy credit card to buy a PlayStation and some other stuff that I want to get. She's like, and I was like, we're going to fucking Best Buy right now. And we left the mall and we drove across the street. I applied for a Best Buy credit card and I made that purchase that I mentioned earlier. And I was like, no, I'm not get a credit card to buy you more. Like I don't ever, like at the time, I was like, I'm not ever spending that kind of money on me. So we're spending that kind of money on me. And she was no argument there. She couldn't say anything. She was like, right. Okay.
Well, that was kind of the deal, because at the time, all of my paycheck went toward the bills, and all of her paycheck went toward whatever she wanted, and I just paid everything. But anyway, that's water.
Another story for another day. Yeah,
15 years ago.
Oh shit! Yeah, there you go.
Now, so.
Oh my god, it's really been 15 years ago. Oh my god, we're old. All right.
So anyway, back to the console war.
Yeah.
So Xbox, but. After 360 was obviously like the peak of Microsoft in most people's opinions, honestly. Xbox One and PS4, and then Sony course corrected. The PS3 course corrected mid-generation. It came out and came pretty strong at the end. Yeah. But then the PS4 was what is what still the biggest selling console or something. Or one of
Sony console or ever
1 million people with
PS2 was the biggest
subscription on PS3. 3.3 million people are still paying for their monthly subscription on a PS3. That's fucking people are still using it. Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's like a whole new generation where we spend thousands of dollars on the new phones, on the new consoles, but there's still like this part of society that isn't that hardcore into gaming.
Right.
And these huge purchases aren't that, like, if my PlayStation 3 can still give me enjoyment, I mean, shit's pretty realistic. It doesn't look like the new fucking graphics, but I grew up with Atari and Nintendo. This shit's still futuristic. You know what I mean? And I'm gaming maybe 8 hours a month at this point. I mean, I think those are, for those people who, the casuals, I think that that it's a hard sell to spend that much money on the new systems until they started. Like PlayStation 5 is just getting to the point for me where it's like, okay, I think I'm gonna have to get it because there's a whole bunch of things that I can only play if I have it,
Yep.
And Xbox just didn't do that. They didn't get there with the consumers. Like there wasn't that demand, I don't think.
No, I mean, I don't think they ever. I don't think they've capitalized on anything of that ilk since like early in the Microsoft Xbox One life cycle, man. Like early in it, and
And I think
that one too.
growth
That
with
one
like
launched.
Power World being part of Game Pass, like Diablo coming to Game Pass now. They
Yeah.
announced today. Like those are, I bet you they're seeing more growth just by offering a service like Game Pass than they are from like investing in actual selling consoles and selling video.
Well,
games.
that's kind of where they're at now. Is because that's where the majority of their money is coming from. Is because they're buying studios left and right, and the studios aren't producing good. I mean, like they purchased Bethesda, or they purchased the rights to Bethesda, or I don't know exactly how that.
Oh yeah, they've got Bethesda.
So Starfield, which was 10 years to come out and make crap. And I saw today, I saw some YouTube video today that said the mod community is even giving up on Starfield right now.
Wow,
So
that's
the
a
mod-
that's a
on
death
the
no.
mods,
Yeah.
I heard that they
That's a
didn't like
death
the
no.
number one mod site or whatever didn't allow Pokemon mods for Howl World, but they did allow Digimon mods for Howl World.
Nice.
Apparently, they ain't afraid of
Well-
the Digimon lawyers.
Well,
Like, bring it on.
No, because Digimon people are cool. They're like, you guys want to feature our shit? Hell yeah.
yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's just extra fucking publicity.
Digivolve.
Nintendo
into
lawyers
champion.
were already beaten down. They were looking for literally any excuse right now for Power World, but I don't think they found anything.
No, so, I mean, people are really starting to stick it to the Pokemon Company and Nintendo and be like, yeah, hey, how's your Megami Tensei game, your ripoff game coming, huh?
Yeah.
You guys are pretty popular after you stole that gimmick from those guys, huh?
Well, it
You want to talk about that?
Wasn't Pokemon kind of ripped off from Dragon Quest?
Oh yeah,
Wasn't that-
Pokemon ripped off Dragon Quest, and Digimon was around at the same time as Pokemon.
Right.
And in the
Yeah.
beginning of Pokemon, there wasn't, so Pokemon mid-cycle kind of started taking things from Digimon as well. But if you look at the characters from Dragon Quest side by side, anybody who wants to make the Pokemon Power World connection needs to see the side by side comparisons of the Dragon Quest. Like, that's like, okay, so it's full circle. You're robbing from Peter to pay Paul, and Paul got robbed from some other dude too. It's everybody's got robbed here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only people who actually finally profited in this whole thing are the fans who just wanted a decent fucking Pokemon game.
Does anybody remember Monster Rancher?
Hell yeah, dude. I love that game.
So Monster Rancher, which I don't know if I ever actually played it, but I remember at the time I was reading, I forget what, there was a magazine that had cheat codes in the back. I forget what magazine it was, but like it would feature cheat codes in the back of this magazine because that was still a thing back then.
Yeah.
And the cheat code section for Monster Rancher was like and you would actually put music CDs in your PlayStation while the game was running, and that's how you would unlock new monsters.
Yep.
So I could just remember like looking through my CD collection and seeing what monsters I would have if I had this game.
My strongest monster in Monster Rancher 2, I think, came from my mom's Lucio Pavarotti CD, who's Lucio Pavarotti is an opera singer.
Right.
And her Pavarotti CD made this hairy slime monster. But the slime monster, so like the way Monster Rancher worked was there was like a couple dozen like frames or motifs that your monsters would fit, and then some of the times they like cross bleed over, right? So the slime monster was just this, he looked like pudding, and then he was like kind of a imageless man with wavy noodle arms, but you could get a metal one, or you could get a spiky one, or a hairy one, like in other features. And this dude could absolutely wail, but he had this like piercing attack where he like jutted his arm out and turned it into a spike, and it would just wreck everything. Dude, I rode that one dude to victory for so long.
That's a crazy concept that most games don't. They're just not that innovative nowadays. Not really.
Yeah, no.
King Metal Slimes.
And when people try to get innovative, it just turns out kind of weird, like Kojima.
Well, I mean, here's a question I have, and this was something that came up earlier on the show that I was doing, because we talked about one of the songs we played was from Sayonara Wild Hearts. You ever play that? came out like last year or 2 years ago, and Jake was explaining it to me that the concept of it was actually that it was written as an album first, and then they built a video game to go with an
Oh,
album.
that's pretty awesome.
And but it's like a very unique aesthetic and like all that stuff. And then we were talking about another one of the games called Rhythm Heaven, and like in games like, do you guys remember Elite Beat Agents for the DS, and like and even like the WarioWare games, which are a little more popular, but like it's super weird nonetheless, right?
Wario rings a bell.
Yeah.
So, but like the whole point of all that was, right, I'm with you. I want more original IPs and less remakes and less all that stuff.
Right.
But I feel like when we get that, and then people go, yeah, I don't know, it's too weird. I think I'll just go play, this 9th iteration of this other game that's been redone and remade over and over and over and over and over and over. Yeah, right. And it's like, how do we actually really want new, fresh IPs, or do we just want our old IPs to look like fresh new IPs?
I like fresh.
I don't know.
I like fresh new IPs. I don't like recycle. Like, Uncharted 4 was fun enough, but it was also like they ended Nathan Drake at the end. Like they sent him off swan song style. It was great. Like I loved it. They retired the character. Totally fine. So I'm good with like sequels and stuff is fine, but like when you're up to we're still doing Zelda games or whatever. But then then they change Zelda. They do like Breath of the Wild's open world style. Innovative, same character, worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
They tried it again with Tears of the Kingdom. Didn't really go over as well. I don't think it wasn't. As far as I know, it wasn't nearly as popular. I remember everybody talking about Breath of the Wild when it came out.
Right.
I don't remember. I still don't hear a lot of people talking about Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. I think the same people liked it. I don't think they talked about it as much though.
Right.
Because there's nothing new to say.
Right. There's stuff like that. I'm big on like Ghost of Tsushima was fantastic. Like, is it innovative? It's an open world action RPG. It's set in Japan, I guess. In like historical samurai Japanese time. Yeah. I guess that's the only thing that's actually innovative about it. I mean, there's been other samurai games, but
yeah. No, I only played the multiplayer for it, to be honest. I played a little bit of the story, but I only played the multiplayer with it with my brother.
The multiplayer was rad too. I played it a little bit, but I 100% of the game. I platinumed it.
Nice.
I've been waiting for it to come back to. I wanted to release it on PC so I could play it there. Maybe now that I got a PS5, I'll play it again.
Yeah, that's coming this year, right? Did we get the release date?
I don't know. I think we have, but
it's on PS Plus. I mean, so if you have the PS Plus membership, it's on Extra, I think. So like you don't. I mean, I know you said you already bought it, but if for people who haven't bought it,
there's like the definitive. I haven't played the actual DLC yet.
Right.
They come out with the expansion or whatever. I haven't played that, so.
That's another see, like there's so many things to look for, like Elden Ring, the DLC coming. That's something.
Is it coming? Is it actually coming?
Well, yeah, they've confirmed that it's larger. The DLC for Elden Ring is larger than all of Bloodborne, as the whole game of Bloodborne. The DLC for Elden Ring will be larger than that.
I'll believe it when
huge.
I see it.
I'm waiting.
They promised us that like what? A quarter after the game came out, so it came out.
So the only reason that it's not out now is because Elden Ring decided to work with George R.R. Martin, and if you know anything about George R.R. Martin, I think they're still waiting for the books. So bound to be a little bit of a delay in there somewhere.
4,500 Well, 4,600 and something days now since the last book came out, I think, is the count. But no, I watched an interview with George R.
Countdown he had a sticker right there. He's like, up 4,000.
I watched an interview with George R. Martin. He wrote. So what he says was he wrote the history of the world of Elden Ring, and then the creator, what was his name? Miyazaki come in and destroyed it all. That was his goal, was destroying all of what George R. R. Martin had written about the backstory or whatever.
I'm sure he had a great base to start destroying stuff with. I mean, the guy's storylines are popular. I mean,
if you've dug into the, I don't know how like big a lore nerd you are about that specific game, but the lore for that is crazy and it's good. I love it.
I tried to simplify it for a buddy of mine on stream the other day.
Good luck.
So a god finger banged a planet, and then which is because you worship the fingers. So
Yeah.
it planted a seed and a giant tree grew out. I need to read what I wrote. It was like 2 paragraphs long of a summary for it. It was like the tree had babies and the babies had babies and they all found the one ring and smashed it. So it was
And like the whole, good explain America and Radagon to somebody. Like simplify that one. Well, America and Radagon were 2 people who got married who became one in more than, in a physical sense. And I don't mean intercourse. I mean actually became the same person.
Mhm.
It's like, do you want to be a blonde or a redhead today? How are you feeling?
Crazy story, which was even more crazy because wasn't a lot of words spoken in that game. There was cutscenes, yeah, and there was dialogue or whatever, but I'm gonna say like story parts were very.
Oh, I mean that's how those games works. They're obtuse by design. That's the point.
I remember Bloodborne was kind of the same way. I played through.
Yeah, I feel like there's probably people who beat that game and still have no idea what it was about. They're like,
yeah.
We saved a king or something. There was a lot of demons, and
we rescued the princess. We rescued the princess. Hooray!
Yeah. Some of
them. I killed some dude who eats poop. I don't really understand what that's about, but he's dead.
Oh, there's so many great fights in that game.
Worst enemies?
I did.
What was the worst enemy?
Worst enemies in Elden Ring?
Yeah. Well, it depends on your build. Depends on your build. Like I avoided the blood build. I felt that when I first started playing the Sword of Light, Night and Fire, Light and Flame or something hadn't been nerfed yet, and the blood stuff hadn't been nerfed yet. Whatever the blood weapons
Rivers of Blood.
Yeah, Rivers of Blood hadn't been nerfed yet. So I avoid, if you go into any Elden Ring sites, they're like, let me guess, you beat it with Rivers of Blood, blah, 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 blah. So I only recently started going through and on a blood build, and a blood build with the post nerf, I struggled so fucking hard on the fire giant. And I breezed through them on strength. But I would set the game aside for a month and come back and fucking 8 hours just over and over again at that fucking boss, bro.
That boss was a bitch because he would roll so far away from you, and getting back to him was the biggest
And the fire is random as fuck. That when he's down on his knees and he's like banging or whatever, and then the fire comes up around him, it's just so fucking random. And so you just gotta, if it doesn't come where you're at, because it's just random. It's just random.
I don't think any of the major bosses in that game are bad. I think they're all pretty good.
No.
Some of them are hard, but I don't think any of them are bad.
Yeah, I'm not saying bad as I'm saying hardest ones. And honestly, the mobs were worse to fight than most of the bosses were.
The answer to worst enemy is the fucking birds with spikes on their feet. That's the worst enemy. Tell me otherwise that falcons with giant swords for legs are not the worst enemy in the game.
The guys with the wavy tentacles on their face that would puke on you and puke death blight on you.
Oh yeah.
Nice
buddy. They were pretty bad.
Yeah, those guys. I didn't like those guys.
Well, just a quick recap, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, on the fight of a lifetime, PlayStation versus Xbox today, February 15th. We can get the chisel out and start putting that RIP in for Xbox.
Dong. Are we? Oh, yeah, we are. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, dude, I found this channel called Atari Beer Pong, and when the ads come up, even if you're a subscriber, they run old 80s commercials on an old school box television.
Nice.
And they got some fucking bangers in there, dude. And they run it for a couple of minutes before and a couple of minutes after. But it's that's part of their whole retro theme. So it's even the commercials on that channel are fucking retro. I thought that was brilliant.
Streamer I'm watching now that's got a bot set to when an ad comes up, it'll announce ad break, whatever, incoming.
Yeah, I see.
That's baked in. That's baked into Twitch.
I tried to do.
Yeah, but this is
it's a Twitch alert.
Oh, is it? You can say incoming ad break or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I need to figure out.
I haven't messed around with a lot of.
I think you can do it in. I think you can do it in Stream Alerts and stuff, or Stream Elements and stuff too.
And that's like
But-
the one thing that I'm at now is like I want to be able to like on the number key press something and have an effect come up. Like I want to make my own stream deck basically.
Yeah, do it. You can do that in OBS.
Yeah.
I got to figure that out. I haven't even thought about it. That's like something I don't have, and I don't even know why I didn't ever think about that.
I follow a guy, a personal friend of one of my friends, knows him personally. Anyway, his stream blew up. The Windbag. He's partnered now, but when we first started watching it, he was like 4 or 5 people, or viewers or whatever. But he showed me. I think he said like almost every key on his keyboard is a hotkey. Dude, he's like got the most crazy amounts of transitions and like different camera angles, and he'll like talk to himself, but he's got like his head posed on a dude in a suit, like that's his co-host is himself, but he talks in a different accent. He switches back and forth. Yeah, it's pretty.
What's his name?
The Windbag. You have to check him
Let me
out.
see.
He sings all the time. He's funny. I can't watch his streams that much, but yeah.
There you go. Boom. Gave the follow.
That's not him.
That I would say. There's no picture. That dude's partnered. He's definitely got a picture.
Oh yeah, he's got a picture.
Anyway.
The underscore Windbag.
Oh, I don't have my keyboard in front of me. I can't type things in.
Yeah, that's him. The underscore keyboard. Wow, he's live right now.
Oh yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
Oops.
No, he's cool. He's a funny guy. Kind of finally took off, and he was streaming every night there for a long time. I think he finally got to the point where he's doing pretty good in his streams. I wish I could get back to the every night thing. I did that for a while, and I burnt myself out. I haven't been able to stream every night. Dude, I did that. I'm trying to get back in a rhythm of at least streaming like a couple times a week, like along with the podcast.
4 days, man. 4 days, I think, is the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Because 4 days, you can either do 4 days in a row and then have 3 days off, or you can do every other day is 4 days, or you can do 2 and a day off, 2 days off, and like. Because I do
That's
Sunday.
The coolest part of this podcast for my mental health is even when I don't stream, I'm like, well, I still streamed on the podcast.
Yeah. That's like I do. I'm live Sunday, Mondays. I'm off Tuesdays because my wife works overnights, and I do Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday is a toss up. Like if I want to, I can, and if I don't want to, I don't have to. It's not part of my schedule. So like if we don't end up doing anything, as a family, then I can just go live. I want to go play games. Or I can just go chill in somebody else's stream. Let me close my door. Anyway, so Xbox.
Yeah.
So what did they actually end up saying on this thing? I know we keep trying to start this topic and then rambling off into other things.
They basically announced that they were going to be not an exclusive platform anymore for their and that 4 titles would be available on other platforms. They didn't specify I didn't watch the whole thing because it was just ridiculous. And usually Jake Twitchen is extremely positive on these kinds of events, but he even said, he's like, usually I'm really positive, guys, anyone who just pulled in, but this is horse shit. What are they doing right now? But like he was he was being super vague. Now we know that it's Nintendo Switch and PlayStation that these 4 titles are going to, and he did the host asked him, is it going to be Starfield or Indiana Jones? And he said, no, it's not going to be those 2.
Okay, so here's the thing.
With them getting Bethesda, it's probably going to be either a future Bethesda title or a pre-existing Bethesda title, I imagine. Because they've got, why not?
Well, they've got every other Bethesda game on PlayStation besides Starfield.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that was the opposite that I was thinking. By buying that, they were going to try to make it Xbox.
Well, so when they did, when Xbox purchased Bethesda, that was the thing. They said, "Hey, Starfield is going to be Xbox exclusive. The next Elder Scrolls title is going to be Xbox exclusive." But that's coming out for a long time, a long ways down the way. Or at least they said at the very least, if it's not going to be exclusive, it's going to be a timed exclusive.
Right. Which
means that Xbox is going to have the rights to Elder Scrolls 6 for a year or 18 months before PlayStation and the PC could get it. Okay. And like, to me, That was the only thing that I was like, damn, Sony's gonna want that. Like,
Right.
And probably Fallout if they do another Fallout, right? But like, Fallout seems to be a lot more evenly spread across platforms. I feel like where Elder Scrolls seems to be either all PC because of mods or it's all PlayStation. Like, I don't know a whole lot of people who play the Elder Scrolls games on, if they play them on console, play them on the Xbox.
Right. Well, okay. So if Bethesda, which here's the thing, I think Starfield. Well, okay. So Fallout, 76, which is a Bethesda. I don't know if Bethesda actually worked on that title or not.
Yeah, it's theirs.
Okay. There's that, which it had negative reviews, and then we got Starfield, and I don't think there's really been much else in between except them releasing Skyrim 17 times on 17 different things. Play that shit on your toaster now. But
Fallout 76 have you ever played it?
I haven't. I've heard they fixed a lot of stuff, but I know initial launch was.
Play it.
It was a little rough at the start, but it wasn't too far in that they really got it under wraps.
Right.
I mean, it's on the same Fallout 4 engine. So if you've played Fallout 4, you've played Fallout 76 mechanically. Right. The only thing they've added in is like Fallout 76 has their base has a mobile base building system, whereas like Fallout 4's was you had to go to, the towns and the places and then build in those designated areas. And 76, you have this thing called camp, and you just pop it up wherever you want, and then you can build your crafting stuff. And then the thing is, you can store all your crap back in the camp, and then you can pitch it somewhere else and then move your base. So you never have to like commit your base to one area, which is cool.
That's pretty cool.
But it's pretty neat. It was just buggy like any other Bethesda game. I mean, it was buggy like Bethesda, adding in jank ass server issues that weren't a problem before because all the other games were single player.
Right.
So,
but my thought was, so I think Starfield, at least them, has put a pretty big taint on the Bethesda name because they supposedly worked on this for years. It was not well received.
Right.
And like I said, now I know one person that actually likes the game. It's my brother-in-law who's playing it on his like Steam Deck or whatever, like a portable. And it's like, oh yeah, he works on a riverboat, so he's like away from home.
There you go.
It's like, oh yeah, I love it, man. I played all the time. I put so many hours into it on my Steam Deck or whatever, and I'm like, cool. I mean, I guess nobody else likes the game, but
I tried it twice. I tried it when it came out, and then I finally upgraded my graphics card off this 1050 Ti, and I bought a AMD Radeon RX 7600.
Nice.
Which I didn't know when I bought it is a current gen card. Like I didn't know I thought I was buying like a gen or two old, which is what I was aiming for. But at the cost, it was only like $270. And I was like, I get a current card, like whatever. Anyway. So I was like, oh, let me try Starfield again to see how it runs. Runs like dog shit. That game the optimization is piss poor. So I'm curious to know though, is it just as bad on console? Like when you have console stuff and it's a fixed variable rate, like, is it just as bad to play on console as it is to play on PC? Because I would like to give it a fair shot if it actually works. But I don't know. Man, that
I feel like No Man's Sky is just a better game. It's
I
just
like I didn't
the
like
same
that
game,
either.
but better. Like,
well, it had a crap launch too. I put several hours in.
Or what's the other one? Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds was.
Like they're all okay. It's like how did those two games come out before Starfield? Starfield didn't really do anything extraordinarily different from those games. You got a ship, you fly around, you find stuff, you scan stuff.
No Man's Sky has been out since like 2015 or 2016.
Yeah,
it just blows my mind.
I didn't like it when it launched because I was bored, and then I didn't like it when they fixed it because I didn't enjoy anything that they added. I don't know, that game, No Man's Sky is not for me,
right?
But Outer Worlds, why? I don't know. See, I get confused about the two because there's Outer Worlds and there's Outer Wilds, and they're two totally different games.
Yeah.
But the if the one you're talking about is like the space punk Fallout clone,
yes,
yeah,
that's made by Obsidian, the same team that made New Vegas. That's why that's so good.
Yeah.
So that was like that was going to be good because it looks like Bethesda, but that's because Obsidian, who made New Vegas, which is almost always, universally acclaimed as the best Fallout game, just took everything they did with New Vegas and then chucked it in space, which is fine.
It was good, but wasn't very deep as far as like.
Yeah.
what you could do with your weapons and stuff like that. Like
Right.
your skill tree wasn't very deep. I
Speaking
played
of-
it. I don't think I ever beat it. I had it and played quite a
Yeah,
bit.
Outer Wilds is like a I don't know, atmospheric space exploration something I think. Different. Totally different. Not like Fallout or Starfield. It's Outer or Wilds is different. Worlds is that Obsidian game.
Yeah,
So-
man. So yeah, so we were talking about the reason I mentioned that was so Sony's going to want the next Skyrim game. But if and this is just my opinions, if Bethesda's going to put out the same crap, effort that they put into Starfield and try to release that as the next Oblivion game or not,
Right.
Elder Scrolls game, Elder Scrolls game. No, what's it going to matter? It doesn't matter what system it's going to launch on. Not really. Even if Sony wants it, if it's going to be crap like Starfield, Sony be like, we're probably okay.
Yeah, I wondered, is it going to suffer the same fate that, well, not suffer the same fate, I guess not the right word. Is it going to follow suit with the majority of the Bethesda product? It's going to come out, it's going to be kind of jank, but then like 8 months in, it'll be awesome. Like Oblivion was like that, Skyrim was like that, Fallout 3 was like that, Fallout 4 was like that. And
Cyberpunk was like that.
Cyberpunk was like that, right? And all these games were made, they dropped half-birthed, not ready to go. But with
I think
a
I'm
little bit
finally ready to start Cyberpunk.
it's so good, man. Like
I need to go back and finish the. I never.
It looks like GTA in space.
I cannot
Future
recommend Cyberpunk enough. It is such a gripping narrative, and the characters are so well written and fleshed out that like you get emotionally attached to them, man. I liked it a lot.
I say that the
feel
new
like I'm
system
too
since
late.
2.1, I didn't care about the updates to the abilities and skill points and stuff. The way the skills were distributed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like the original version or post 2.0 gave you way more freedom to do crazy builds with like crazy amounts of cyber mods and all that crap.
I have not played the 2.0 stuff, so I can't really talk to that. I bought a copy of it for the PS4 physical copy at GameStop because that was remember there was a period of like 2 or 3 weeks where they were like pull every copy off the shelf. Remember that? Like when Cyberpunk was in its height of dumpster fire status.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, get it off the shelves. We don't want to sell physical copies of it. We're pulling it off the digital stores. So we don't want to sell it physical either. And GameStop was like, man, we're getting our bag, boy. And they marked it down like $5. So I went into my local GameStop and I was like, yeah, I'll take that shit. Boom. Bought it, took it home and sat on it. PS4 copy, sat on it. And I was like, no sweat, no hurry. I'll wait for them to fix it.
Yeah.
And I'll play it. Or I'll buy a PS5 and I'll play it on the PS5 and it'll work fine. And then lo and behold, I ended up getting a PS5 way sooner than I thought. So I was like, yeah, let me throw this. So I slid in the PS4 disc and installed it. Well, Cyberpunk 2077, kind of what you were talking about before, Eli, it was one of the games that you got the PS5 upgrade for free. So once I installed it, I was like, oh, go download this as well. Boom. So now I have the PS5 version of Cyberpunk 2077. And it plays like a dream, dude.
$5.
I never had a problem with it. Like, I mean, and I played it kind of after the 1.5 update, so after the first big like cleanup patch came out. But even then, like, I think I ran into like 2 or 3 issues and it was just a quick reload. I just reload my save and problem solved. Like I never ran into anything super game breaking and I never ran into anything that was so, I never ran anything that was worse than any other game that I had played, in the modern era that had, oh, these assets didn't load or, contact geometry is dead or you can't open this door. Like, okay. You know what I mean? Like there was nothing worse than anything like that. So I was glad. I don't have a negative experience with that game that a lot of other people had. And I'm glad because I love it.
Yeah.
I love that game so much.
I think I saw like 2 or 3 T-pose stuff. Other than that, never really had any issues. I ran it on almost max settings. I've got a 5700 AMD card. I ran it on, pretty high quality settings. Didn't really have any graphical malfunctions. Beat it the first time. Just normal playthrough. My second playthrough that I'm doing right now is a modded playthrough that I've added different mods and stuff to. But now I have to go and re-update all the damn mods because they've come up with another new update.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Speaking of hardware, we talked about it last or 2 weeks ago. So, scientists at MIT are able to load and play Doom on human gut bacteria, on E. coli, on a what was it, a 27 by 60 pixel spread or whatever. And basically the bacteria are basically on or off, so it's white or black, so you get a black and white image. So now that it's been 2 weeks, it takes 8 days for each individual frame to load, and then 8 days again for the next one to refresh to come back. So it takes like, what was it, 300 years to play the game, or 600 years to actually play the game to start to finish like that. So right now, 2 more frames have, since we first brought it up, 2 more frames have gone since then. Just a quick update on Doom now being played on gut bacteria at MIT.
Doom for your guts.
For your guts. Your innards.
Rip and tear. Rip and tear.
Rip and tear. That's when I saw that I was like, this is wild. who how much money did somebody spend for that?
Oh, way too much.
I think that we're seeing the after effect. Like the way my brain works and what I know has come out of MIT and what it's led to through DARPA and even through
That's scary stuff, right?
Why? Yeah, I mean, what is the underlying concept here? Well, the underlying concept is that they're able to bioengineer. I mean, we're literally mixing what's technology and what's organic materials at this point. So if you're able to, start blurring those lines, eventually, there's not going to be so much of two things becoming one. They're going to be one. There's definitely going to be that general. I mean, this isn't even like implants. This is just being able to get these to code a literal organism to be either turned on or off for what you want it to do, which is just make a visual display. So, I mean,
well, I think about, if you, not to take this in like, the darkest route possible, right? But like, if you're just trying to turn it on or turn it off, you just need to send a single variable switch, command to a thing. Well, you put a small device that just needs a simple 0 or 1 input. Dude, what?
That's a computer.
Hey, bud, are you done? Are you done with that mission we gave you? Cool. Thanks for your service. Click. Boom.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's that game. Oh man, there's a game for like the Sega back in the day where you were like robot ninjas. I think you were like robot ninja girls or something. And like the ending of the game is you beat the boss, you complete the mission, and then you're like a cyborg, and they detonate the bomb in your gut because like, cool, we don't need we don't need you to come back. We'll just build another one of you.
Nice.
So like, it's like a depressing ending or whatever. But I'm just like, that when you talked about that, that's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, oh my god, dude, you could. And the thing is, nobody would be able to find it. Would absolutely get incinerated in anything that you do. Anyway, sorry.
I used to always think that Sega sucked, but then I remembered that there was the Game Gear, and there were so many Sega titles that you wanted to play on the Game Gear.
Nice.
It ate up your batteries. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, so that uses 4 batteries, right? The Game Boy.
No, 6.
6. Okay,
yeah,
so 6 batteries.
3 on the side,
and the Game Boy used 4, right? But the 4 batteries in the Game Boy, that shit would last you. You could get maybe like 11 days.
The Game Gear was color, right?
Yeah, the Game Gear was colored. And so those 6 batteries, that would get you like 2 hours. Yep. You would get 2 hours on that bad boy. But you didn't have to wait for a street lamp to come by while your mom was driving and you're in the back seat and it's dark so you can see the next level on Tetris to make your, you know what I mean? You could play. Oh my god.
Think about that. That was our first handheld.
You told me we were going to talk about it.
I think it was. I mean, besides like those little like, so there was other ones that were like a little screen and you would put different slides in for the levels behind them and it would have like an LED thing that moved similar to a calculator screen.
But I mean, like first, like
these were the first,
yeah, the first actual handhelds generations.
Yep.
And then think about where
like,
we are now, where you can get a Steam Deck or whatever, which is literally just a PC in your hands. You know.
Yeah.
Did you watch the
I want a Steam Deck.
What's the
But
movie?
I work from home. Like, where am I going to be using it?
Not Atari movie. I can't remember maybe it was the Atari movie or something. But like the guy goes, they show him where he gets shown the Game Boy. He's like one of the first 10 people in the world to see
movie.
it. The Tetris movie. That's right.
Isn't it on like Apple TV or something? Like it's on some weird platform.
I haven't seen the whole thing. But I just saw this one clip. Like the dude has to sign the NDA, and he's like, yep, uses this, and he's like, is it color? He goes monochromatic. He goes, well, how come? He goes, well, because black and white takes 4 batteries. But monochromatic would take 6, and it's just too expensive to run. He goes, but monochromatic with 4 batteries, he said, gives you like 32 hours of playtime on a set of 4 batteries. And like for 1980, whatever it was when the Game Boy came out. Was it that late? I thought it was a little bit earlier now. Yeah, whatever. Either way, the fact remains, like 32 hours of gameplay on one set of batteries was wild back then. Because you weren't crushing 5-hour Game Boy sessions back in the day like that. Like you said, like you might be playing it in the car during the daytime, but at nighttime, bro, is off. You can't play it in the dark. I know I got caught. Me and my brother had a Game Boy Pocket, and I was playing Pokemon Blue on it, and I smuggled a flashlight in my bedroom, man, and I had the covers up over my head, and I was sitting there, and I was holding the flashlight in my mouth, playing like this. My mom came in there. What are you doing?
I remember my buddy had a little clip thing. It was almost like, those little clips they make for books to read it. Yeah, it was like a little clip visor deal that went over it or whatever.
I had a magnifier one too. Yeah, dude. So, yep, I remember those days.
And then there was a deal you could put in the Super Nintendo where you could put
Super Game Boy.
Super
Game Boy.
You could put Game Boy games in the top of it and play them in your Nintendo.
Okay.
And there was a Game Genie. I remember the Game Genie.
Yeah.
I never had a Game Genie, but my buddy had one. And I didn't have any games. Like, you'd always swap games back in the day. Like when you'd beat a game, your buddy would swap you a game. There we go.
This is the N64 transfer pack for Pokemon Stadium.
Holy crap.
And
it goes in the controller.
Yep. So the thing is, you plug this in, and then you plug it into the console, and then you can go. There's a section in Pokemon Stadium where you can go, and you can actually play Pokemon on your Nintendo 64.
So is that a Rumble Pack connector?
No. It's in the same place, but it's a thing. It's called the transfer pack. It came with Pokemon Stadium. The thing is, the whole thing was on Pokemon Stadium 1 with red, blue, and yellow. Whatever monsters you trained in the game, you could transfer into Pokemon Stadium and then use those to battle in Pokemon Stadium.
Cool.
So
build them up and take them to war.
Yeah.
Well, and then that's as far as Pokemon's went. As far as innovating their games.
Pokemon Go is wild popular. My dad's one of the top people in Pokemon Go in North America, and whenever I go back and visit him, we go to the store or whatever. It's just an excuse for him to get out so he can go over, stop in the middle of the street by a park area. It's like not a lot of traffic, but even if there's cars coming behind him, he's not even looking. If they honk, he's not even paying attention, and he's sitting there, and he goes there 2 or 3 times a day to make sure that he's still there's a gym or something.
Yeah.
And and there's rankings on there, and he's got to make sure that this is still his gym. He's like, someone tried to actually take this spot from me. And he's getting all angry on his phone, and there's cars coming, and I'm just sitting there like, is this real? My dad is addicted to Pokemon Go. And he drives the whole thing. He drives it all. He's just out there driving. I remember when it first came out, anybody that was on their phone, people were like, he's fucking playing Pokemon Go. Pay attention to the real world. It's like, not everyone's on Pokemon Go. They're just on their phones.
So the game that they built that on top of was a game that Niantic Labs put out. It was called shit, I gotta look it up now.
Yeah.
But it was a secret society Shadow War game.
Ooh,
and
with augmented reality, so there'd be clues and like the Da Vinci Code, but little clues that you could pick up with your phone or something.
Cool. So you would join one of the 3 things, kind of like the way Pokemon Go has Team Mystic and Team whatever. I forget what the other 2 are.
Me too.
And
really do. That was a thing.
It was red, yellow, blue.
yeah. I have a team Mystic shirt that I bought when I was in Florida, like while the game was still like real hot. But I got to find the thing for it real quick. But so the thing was, depending on which one of these three factions you joined, it was basically the same exact thing. You had to walk with your phone to do the whatever, and then go to the places and gather the points and attack the nodes and hack the systems and do all that stuff. But like that game got really popular with the outgoing like mobile user database or user base, because I would see pictures all the time. They're like, "Hey, it's a blue team meetup over here in Chile," and like people would like fly into Chile from other places in the world, and like a bunch of these people who didn't know each other would like meet up to stand there with their phones and like attack a node to take it over or whatever. And it was just like, but it was like it had like a geocaching kind of thing to it, and yeah, like you said, like it was deciphered stuff. It was dope. Like it was a really cool thing to do.
That was innovative.
It was so crazy for me because I got into, my friends got me into it. At first I was like, this is dumb, I don't want to do this. And then I got into it. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I'm sitting, and at the time I was living I lived outside of city limits, like kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Ingress. I'm sorry. Ingress was the name of the game, by the way.
But I'd be sitting at this house that I was living in. Like, there's one Pokemon would show up a ways away, and I'm like in the middle of nowhere, never see any Pokemon. Yeah. So I'm like, I kind of want that Pokemon. So like, I get in my truck and I start driving down like a dirt road to try to find the stupid Pokemon.
Well, that was the downside of those games, was like, at least with Pokemon, I think the other one was the same way too, but with Pokemon, more Pokemon and better Pokemon show up in denser areas. Yeah. Even people that don't have the game on their phone, the game is like checking the cell tower traffic to be like, how many users are on this node right now? Okay, cool. We'll generate this Pokemon, or it'll be this strong or this rare or whatever based on that kind of stuff. Because same way, like when I was playing it pretty big, I was still working my job in my office, and I would take my
Conquest. Welcome in.
Yo, it's the big homie. What's up, bro?
Oh my god.
I would take my breaks and I would like go like hatch eggs and catch Pokemon, but because of my office was kind of off the beaten path, there wasn't a whole lot going on. Right. But then I went down to the city to go to a concert with my friend. Then I'm like, we're sitting there between bands, and I pull it up just to see, dude, there's like 9 Pokemon stops within my radius. And there's like a gym, and I just sat there like, while the bands were playing, I'm watching. As soon as the bands are done, I'm like, catch this Pokemon, catch, spin, get more Pokeballs, because I was like, dude, I never get to see this stuff. But yeah, if you're in the city, those games are mad fun to play. If you live in the boondocks, they are super boring because there's nothing going on.
Yeah, for real.
I lived in Seattle when that game came out, and I was up at the beach one day, and we were just walking the beach. And we were drinking, we were day drinking, and there was a ton of little bars over by this little harbor area. We ended up on the beach, and I look over to my side, and there's a lady doing a news report, and I'm like, is anyone else hearing this? It's just the same shit over and over again. Like but it's like bloopers. And so we like go around, and sure as shit, there's a lady doing a newscast right there on the beach talking about 3 people just got arrested because they were playing Pokemon Go, and supposedly they just walked right onto the Coast Guard base. And there's like signs everywhere, and I was like, that's like a perfect disguise for spies. They're like, oh, dude, Pokemon Go.
I was just playing
in Area 51. Dude. Where's the aliens anyway? Like, what?
Yeah. Hey, while we're here, do you guys have real Pokemon?
I can't believe that had actually happened, though. They actually got arrested for going onto a military base.
Dude. Thank you so much.
And that was their
Conquest.
Yeah, you were not wrong, man.
Thank you for the follow. Woo! I didn't want to interrupt Eli's flow.
No, sorry.
And I didn't even get the alert. Is my alert box not on this scene? It is not. My alert box is literally not on this scene. What the heck?
I just found out you can literally control C. Is this the first baby? We've got 2 special guests. We've just blown the record out of the water with special guest NerDadTPC today on Intelligent Ace's main Ace Chase podcast. And now we've got a 4th special guest.
Hang on.
You're good.
I know. Come here, give me a hug. Okay, come here, give me a hug real quick. Ready? I love you. You want to say hi to everybody?
No.
You know? Okay. So, you want to say hi? I can pick you up. You can wave in the camera. You say hi. No? All right, cool. All right, good night, bud. Go to sleep.
You gotta put your hand up super high.
I very much love you, sir.
Come here.
CNH Conquest, all the way from Canada.
There. Wait, right there. Right there. See the blue? See the blue light? Wave to the blue light.
He needs to clean out his microphone. He's got hair all on it. You can see on your screen.
I know. It's usually not in the camera, so. All right, buddy.
You waving too?
Go to sleep. I know. All right, you got to stay with me. You got to stay with me.
She's been topped off, so.
Okay, cool.
So yeah,
But yeah.
Pokemon Go was innovative. I think they used that augmented reality technology that was available and they didn't even need to like, put out like discs, cartridges, a console or whatever. I mean, it was just something people could download on a mobile network. Like everyone.
Well, it's like I said,
phones.
They didn't even have to make another game. They just reskinned the Ingress game. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. I mean, it's literally it operates on the exact same parameters. They're just like, here's a Pikachu.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And like you said, and that's really all it took. And I think they did it on purpose, right? I think the Ingress game was really the prototype to be like, can we make a game that operates with these gameplay mechanics? Like these are the core mechanics that we want to use. We want, like the pedometer to count for something in the phone. And we want, your location to matter, where you are in the game. So if you're moving, you get rewarded. And if you go to different places, you get rewarded. So, I mean, it does kind of incentivize people to, not be so,
that game led to the Defense Department finding a leak in our national security, actually, because that game tracked movements. People started finding ways to track people's movements, right? Well, it wasn't so much with that game that it came into play, but in the process of realizing they could track people's movements with these type of GPS devices, they were able to find that the security on Fitbits was extremely low, and Fitbits was extremely popular, especially in the military community and the law enforcement community.
Yeah.
So foreign governments were able to track on Fitbits that people were walking this way and that way, and they had their routine patterns all throughout the day as they, had their routine. But the movement was occurring in an area where nothing existed on a map.
Yep.
So now they had not only did they know that there's a military base or a military installment there, but they knew the very internal components of the base. They basically got a schematic of where people can go and how they operate. So that led to an increase in security for Fitbits ultimately.
Yeah, no, I mean that's if you're talking about you're tracking minute geospatial location is big deal, and to have it to be on something so simple as your step counter, right? To be like, oh yeah, this will tell me the exact minute on my longitude and latitudinal location where I'm at in the Earth right now. Okay, you really want to give that up? Are you sure?
Yeah. It was just something people overlooked, And I guess it was in a setting where you can, I guess it's not like live, but I guess once a week or once a month, it connects to the Fitbit home base and it gives you some statistics or some shit like that.
Well, and I imagine that a lot of those companies,
map of where you walked even.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine a lot of those companies were outsourcing that data allocation.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? They weren't doing that here. So hey, check it out. Other country who's not the United States have all this, enjoy all this super detailed information about this place.
So people always talk about when it's always something new, but I think the last one was with the not injections. What are they called? The vaccinations. They were talking about there was a fringe thing that came out there where there's microchips. There's tiny little itty bitty microchips that are being implanted so they can track us.
Right.
And so I seen this on Facebook, and then the most liked comment pops up without even having to open it. You can see the comment.
Yeah.
And it was like, you probably just typed that on a cell phone that you carry with you, and
Everywhere
you're
you go.
saying it on a privately run social media company, literally concerned about people tracking you. Like
That's it.
the disconnect here,
I-
like
I-
they don't need to inject you. You've carried it, or you volunteered and
listen.
said, "Yes, I will pay for the
Listen.
chip, $1,000 for the
Listen.
newest one."
It's right here. It's this one right here. Look at I told people two things about that. I said, here's the deal. I said, first of all, bro, get off your high horse. You are not that important. Nobody gives a shit what you're doing or where you're going, player. Nobody's tracking you. All right. Nobody wants to know that you go to Walmart every day, or that you eat at the same restaurant every day, or that you watch the same trash television every day. Nobody gives a rip, brother. Okay. Second of all, were you born in the United States? Yes. Okay. You were born with a serial number, man. You've been getting tracked since the day that you breached. I don't know what to tell you. That social security number serves one major purpose. That's to track you all throughout your life. Anytime you've ever bought anything or got anything, what did you have to give them? Social security number to do anything. So they take your social security and they take your buying habits. I don't need to inject you with a chip, player. They got everything they need to know about you.
Right.
Between those two things. And then, like you said, now we add this into the mix and it's even easier. You give up how many things have you signed up for? You just went, I agree. Do you read any of that?
Oh gosh, it's on Netflix. The Black Pearl. No, wait.
Black Mirror.
The Black Mirror. So there was an episode where it was when you were agreeing, when you were just automatically selecting I agree to stuff, you had agreed to have your life become like one of these episodes, and so like
the
they
South
start
Park episode with you sign an Apple agreement, and then they now kidnap you, and then do a human centipede or whatever.
It was a mind trip like that. It was a mind trip like that.
Yeah, people are wild, man.
No, we're aware of the massive buildup of Canadians on our northern border conquest, but don't be alarmed. We've just made an agreement with the Canadian government to purchase a mass amount of maple syrup, and it appears that this trade transaction has alleviated some of the military tensions on our northern border with our Canadian friends.
That's their
trying to cross the northern border this time of year is a terrible idea. It's
Canadian kryptonite, bro.
Cold up there.
Yeah, it is.
Canadian kryptonite.
That's what that is, bro.
No joke. There's a recipe for something called candied bacon, which, by the way, if you've never had, it's amazing. It's a little tedious to make because you have to set a 3 to 5 minute timer, and every time it goes off, you're opening the oven and recoating this bacon. But ultimately, the main part of the recipe is that you have to have maple syrup. And if you've ever gone to the store and so in parentheses in the recipe, it says it can't be corn syrup with maple flavoring, because that shit just burns so much quicker than actual real maple syrup. So you're constantly applying brushing on this maple syrup and like brown sugar and pepper mixture, and turning it and doing it. And eventually you get this thick layer that like candies on the bacon, and it's the most amazing thing that you've ever had. But you have to get real freaking maple syrup. And so if you've never tried to do this, then you might not know. But if you go to the store, some stores don't even have regular maple syrup. They've got like Mrs. Butterworth, and you look at all the syrups that are there, and they're all corn syrup with maple flavoring. So I finally found some. I had to go to like the fancy store in the fancy section, and they had organic Canadian maple syrup, and it was like fucking 8 ounces for $6.99 for 8 ounces. So it's literally fucking gold, like apparently, because I'm wondering if it's because Mrs. Butterworth has just like cornered the market and flooded it with such cheap fake maple syrup that like they have no option now. Like, okay, well, we're gonna sell it. We gotta sell it high. You know, if you sell your cars for $1 million, you only gotta sell one. You know what I mean? You're a productive car lot for that year. But no, I'm sorry. It's just maple syrup.
I can't eat that, so it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah,
that's funny.
You can eat the bacon, right?
The bacon, yeah. Eat plenty of that right now.
So he's on a carnivore diet,
Paleo diet. I remember that. I did that back in like 2010.
Paleo diet.
Remember that?
Getting back to your
Paleo. Yeah. I mean, it's been called several names, but yeah, carnivore. Which and I'm down 10 pounds so far. I started
Hey,
a
listen.
couple weeks ago.
Awesome.
I'll shit on it real quick, but like when I did it, dude, I did paleo, which was like basically cutting all sugar and carbs, which is brutal to do. But for the time that I was faithful to that diet, dude, I lost weight and never felt better. Like I felt so good all the time. I slept well. I was sleeping, getting great sleep. I was energized during the day. I wasn't having any crashes, and I was like, this is pretty good. And then I got sick from something like I used to be a tech and be in people's houses, and I got sick like going in somebody's house or whatever. And the first thing I did when I started feeling better enough to eat was went to Moe's and got a big fat ass burrito and housed that thing and just fell right off the wagon. That was it. That was it.
I've got set for 90 days. I'm going to do this for 90 days. So May the 4th will be my 90-day mark.
May the 4th be with you.
That's right.
So I'm going to make it till then I'm going to buy a big ass thing of ice cream on my 90th day. But I'm hoping I've lost enough weight to it won't matter to eat one thing of ice cream.
You're just gonna feel like shit. That's all.
Yeah. I'm sure I will.
You're gonna feel like absolute asshole for the day when you do it. But you know, it'll be worth it, I think. It'll be worth it.
Well, so, you know, and I don't think I'll stay strict on carnivore, but like if I can get down to a low enough weight, and then stick with a semi-regular, you know, 80-20, like stay
80-20, man. I was gonna say 80-20 is the key.
So,
and and 80-20, and the thing is, like, exercise is so much more important than everything else because you can outwork like a shit diet, but you can't really out diet poor workout. You know what I mean? And like, I mean, you know, it's not to say like that you can just eat all shit all the time and then go work out a bunch. You need to fuel the workout properly for sure. But you know, if you're pretty diligent about working out and you want to have a couple cheeseburgers that week, you're gonna be okay. And
I'm trying to get underneath a certain weight because
I need to too.
Heart problems in the family and stuff like that. And my dad had a heart attack last year, and it kind of got me on this kick. I've quit smoking. I've quit vaping. I don't really drink anymore. I stopped eating processed
food. I get him to have a beer once in a while.
Yeah, I'll have a beer once in a while, but I don't.
I get Yingling.
I had a heart attack scare last year myself, so I know the feel, dude.
Yeah, and I don't buy. I stopped buying all processed stuff. Like I don't eat nothing out of a bag. You know, like pre-frozen. What I call bachelor food for years, which is just chicken nuggets and French fries, and I throw in the air fryer or whatever. It's all raw, you know, raw meats and like even just raw potatoes, and I'll just cook raw potatoes in whatever way.
Dude, today was my first day buying a big old giant bag of potatoes in a long, long time. And holy shit, why was I wasting my money on frozen shit that didn't last? Like, it was such a big bag, and it's just me that I end up putting it back in the freezer. By the end of that bag, it's all freezer burnt, and I don't want to eat it anyway.
Right.
But wow, I got a 20-pound bag of potatoes for like $5 or $6. Like, that's a lot of fucking potatoes.
Dude, and the thing is, like, as long as you keep them in a place where they don't get too hot or too cold, like and getting moisture in them, dude, potatoes will last forever. And if they start growing eyes, that doesn't mean they're bad. You just cut the eye out, and then you can still eat it. Like when they start getting soft is when you need to toss them. But like it takes a long time for them to get to a point where they start getting soft. So
I keep mine in the fridge. I've got an extra drawer in the bottom. Just keep them in the fridge. But with an air fryer, I could dice up a potato, put a little oil and seasoning on it, toss it in the air fryer, 15 minutes.
No, I feel that. There's 6 of us, but you know, one of them is this little baby here, so she doesn't really count. But there's 5 of us that eat, you know, dinner every night. So we tend to go whenever we do use that stuff. Like we'll buy a bag of potatoes and we'll use the whole thing. Either whether it's making baked potatoes or mashing them up and making mashed potatoes, you know, or doing whatever. It's like it's kind of nice to be able to you know, buy and use food, because I can remember, you know, my wife and I buying same thing like what he was talking about. We buy stuff and it would sit and sit and sit and sit and sit. We'd cook half of it, and then the rest of it would go to waste. And I was just like, damn, dude, like how much money am I spending on stuff that I never
trying
use?
to be healthy is all my healthy food always goes to waste. Well, not all of it, but it's like the vegetables. A lot. I did waste a lot of vegetables. Last week I wasted a piece of salmon. I was a dumbass, and I was like, "What is that smell?" And I got down in there, and I was like, "Oh fuck." But it was the day I was gonna cook it. I spent so long at the grocery store. But by the time I got out, I went and got Chinese food. Today I did not do that. I just I drank a monster. I drank a monster.
Dude, it's brutal, man. And that's the other thing too, is like, man, again, the 80-20 rule, but also, hey, if you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to adjust food, don't adjust what you eat first. Adjust how much of it you eat.
Yeah.
Because if you dial portions down if you keep eating crap, but eat less of it, right? And then train your body to need less food.
Yeah.
Do exercise to get a calorie deficit will make you lose weight. And then once you start exercising, whether it's cardio or lifting weights, like I like lifting weights. That's my thing, right? I hate doing cardio, but I love weightlifting. And like you got to fuel weightlifting with a certain amount of carbs and proteins. And it's like I can't eat, like my wife made enchiladas for dinner tonight, right? And they were good. Shredded chicken enchiladas. They were really good. I could not go to the gym now. If I went to the gym anytime tonight, I would puke all of that back up. So it's like if I'm gonna go to the gym and lift weights and work out, I need to make sure that the meal I eat before is gonna stay down when I start, putting 500 pounds on the leg press and going to work. And like, you know what I mean? I can't be on a full stomach of fat and grease. I got to be on a full stomach of complex carbohydrates and protein. And like I said, not to say that I'm just eating a piece of bread and grilled chicken, but you know what I mean? And it's like, but once you start working out, you'll start to notice that, like, man, when I eat this and then go to the gym, I feel like shit. You'll be less inclined to eat it.
Right.
You'll eat something different and go to the gym and be like, I don't feel so bad.
Yep.
And then before you know it,
I had to do something kind of extreme.
Sure.
I'm a truck driver, so I sit all day in a truck.
Yeah.
And then if I have food next to me, I'm gonna be munching on that stuff the whole time. So my thinking was I cooked like 2 eggs and a couple strips of bacon. That's my breakfast right now, and then I have whatever my leftovers are from the night before. That's my lunch.
Yeah.
Normally it's like so far it's been like hamburger patties or even ribs and stuff. If I cook ribs or whatever, that's my leftovers. And that's kind of and so far I've been doing pretty good. And I don't have the same hunger cravings as I did when I was eating a bunch of crap. And I say a bunch of crap, like it was, I was trying to keep like fruits and like mixed nuts and stuff or whatever. But still yet, like I'd be craving that stuff all the time. So I feel much better on this diet so far.
It was, you know what it was? I mean, like scientifically speaking, it was sugar addiction.
Oh yeah. No,
that's what it was.
Yeah,
like it wasn't that and so like even with the fruit thing, right? Fruit is good, but fruit is a lot of sugar, and it's like you need to
made fruit with real sugar.
Yeah, fruit's got to be one of the smaller portion foods that you have throughout the day. But when I was doing paleo, I was still a FiOS tech, right? So I wasn't driving a truck like you do, but I was driving a work van, and and there was no telling where I was going to be. So it was like I might not have. If I didn't bring food with me, I might not have the chance to go somewhere to get something that I should eat, right? I may be subjected to eating trash. And I know that, driving routes and stuff like that, right? So what I found for me worked, and you can try this, I don't know. I'm a breakfast guy anyway, right? So I like breakfast. I would just almost double down on my breakfast. I would basically eat my lunch calories at breakfast by upping the protein in my breakfast. So I'd weigh more eggs, and I might even have a protein shake to go with it. And I'd do like 40 to 50 grams of protein with breakfast. And then I wouldn't even usually get hungry for lunch. Yeah. And if I was, it'd be something real, small, real easy. And I would just eat, okay, I'd have, a handful of almonds, or maybe I'd get one of those like fast break, Sargento fast break things at the grocery store or something. It's got a meat, cheese, and a nut in it or something like that. And it's got, 15 grams of protein. And I'd eat that, and I'd get some fat, some carbs, some proteins, just enough to satiate the hunger pangs, not enough to throw a diet off, out of whack. And then I'd be good to go until I got home again. And then I could have another meal high in protein, low in carbohydrate, low in sugar because it's late at night. And then, and it would be like, and in that way I also would not want to eat, a 11 o'clock bowl of cereal. That was the other thing. It's like, how do I get off this midnight snack train? Like that was probably my bigger problem, was like, dude, it's middle of the night and I'm freaking starving.
Yeah.
And
I've been doing intermittent fasting for, about a year now or so, on and off for about a year now. I don't eat past 6. Like I try to get my dinner in 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, and then after 6. So that's just been my kind of thing.
No, hey, if that works for you, that I tried that one time, and maybe I didn't stick with it long enough. I felt like shit. I felt so bad, like headaches and just tired, and I was like, man, I can't be. I don't think my body is built for these gaps. And and I'm sure that if with enough diligence, I could probably train myself to get there. But I was like, man, I have other methods that I can use that I know will achieve more or less the same goal. And I was like, and I don't feel as bad doing those. But I know a bunch of people the same way, who they're like, they eat lunch and then they don't eat again until breakfast. They don't even do dinner. Yeah. Their intermittent fasting is 12-hour mess. And I'm like, you guys are crazy.
I had an uncle. I had an uncle that I worked with when I was 15. He was a bricklayer.
Okay.
He'd fix a pot of coffee and he'd smoke cigarettes. So he'd drink coffee and smoke cigarettes till about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. And he'd switch over and start drinking beer. He would never eat lunch. Like maybe have like a 2 bites out of a bologna sandwich or something. That was his lunch.
Yeah.
And that was it. He'd just drink coffee and beer, and that was his meals all day.
Yeah.
I miss that old man. He died a couple years ago. But no.
No, but I know guys like that. I mean, I've been around the same people, and it's like, are you gonna eat anything? Yeah, man, I had 2 cups of coffee. I was like, no, I said, are you gonna eat anything? And they said, yeah, I had 2 cups of coffee.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
I wanted to ask you, because we're kind of running on time here.
Yeah, sorry.
Normally go about an hour and a half. We can go a little longer if you want to, but
I got one more topic before we.
I was gonna ask Nerd Dad here about his podcast and kind of what he streams about. We never really got into an interview question or whatever. We just kind of rolled this whole time. So
no, it's good. Sorry, man. I'm a talker, bro, and I will. Once we get rolling, I'll keep going. So no, so I'm streaming Final Fantasy VII, and I'm trying to complete that so I can play Remake, so we can roll right into Rebirth when it drops on the 29th. And then we're going to play it
29th of this month.
Yes, sir.
How crazy during a leap year, like right
during a leap year
day. Yeah,
nuts, right? So I'm doing that. They said that's going to have 100 hours of content if you do everything, and I will probably do everything. So I'm thinking, based on my normal hours per stream, which is usually about 4 to 5, if we get everything the first time, that's 20 stream days. So that's a month for me. I usually do 4 days a week. So that'd be about a month of stream days for me, or 4 to 5 days. So a month and 4 or 5 weeks, I guess. And then after I'm done with that, I'm going to start playing Final Fantasy 14 again, because there's a new expansion coming out for that in the summer.
Oh, nice.
And so I've completed all the main story stuff for that game up through the most recent expansion, Endwalker. But there's been a couple more. They like 6.0 was Endwalker, and they're up to like 6.5, I think. And I did 6.2 content, and I haven't done anything since then. So there's quite a bit of post story content that I need to do, plus other classes I want to level up. And then when that comes out, we'll be playing that. I showed you guys Pokemon Blue. We're going to do Pokemon Blue on stream via Pokemon Stadium on the Nintendo 64.
Way cool.
So we'll do a nice Pokemon playthrough there.
That should be wild popular, I bet.
I hope so. I'm hoping it will be, but I'm a little afraid of the Pokemon community at large. Because some of them are weirdos, and
there's weirdo keyboard warriors though.
Yeah, but I got some mods that I trust, and I've talked about it with some of them, and I'm like, hey, when we play Pokemon, like not like I need you to be all hands on deck, but like I'm gonna need you guys to be there as often as possible because like this is like I just don't feel like dealing with it. Anyway, my community recently completed 2 challenges. One, we're going to do a Sonic game night, classic Sonic game night. So we're going to play like Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles, maybe Sonic Adventure. And then so to the other part thing, right? So my podcast, another community challenge that we completed a few days ago was a live recording of the Gamecast podcast. And so the Gamecast podcast is a show that is all about video game music. And so it's more of a radio show, less of a podcast. But when I named it the Gamecast podcast back in 2015, when I originally started it, I didn't have the brilliant idea to just call it the Gamecast radio show like I should have. And here we are. But so I go to an event. I'm on the East Coast, right? I'm in Virginia, and I go to an event in Maryland every year called MagFest, the Music and Games Fest. And I've been going there since 2013, and I've had the extreme pleasure of meeting and befriending many brilliant musicians and composers and all sorts of people who cover or interpolate or sample or do something with video game music of all kinds, metal, hip hop, chiptune. This year I was working sound at one of the stages there. We had a guy come in and play the marimbas. We had like 2 big jazz bands. We had 2 girls. One played a ocarina and one played the flute. We had one, or it was a 2-piece group. It was 2 girls and they just sang to like backing tracks, but they sang like sea shanty or like old school, like barmaid style singing. It was dope. I don't know. It's like lots of cool stuff like that. So I really try to focus on them, right? These bands and these people, these artists that I want to put over like as hard as I can. And like, I want to highlight, it's been a mission of mine for a really, really long time to build a platform that will allow me to elevate other people. And like the TPC in my name is the protoculture, and the protoculture is not me, right? I'm just a part of it like everybody else is. And the whole goal is how can I build the protoculture brand up to a point where if you say you're affiliated, people will go, oh, well, you know what? I like a bunch of other stuff that's protoculture related. I'm sure that I'll like this too.
Right.
And, that's kind of the objective. So the Gamecast podcast serves to do the music part of that. I also have another cast that's a lot shorter, right? The Gamecast can go anywhere from like 45 minutes to an hour. Hi, sweet pea. But I have another one that I do that's called the Unnamed Sidecast because I ran out of gimmicky names for it. And that one is actually just me. It's only about 10 or 15 minutes long. And I just sit down in front of the mic and I just hit record in Audacity and I talk like for 10 or 15 minutes about something.
Yeah.
So I released an episode yesterday that was about the Steam Next Fest. I downloaded a couple of demos and got to play those. So I just kind of gave my thoughts on that. And then I recorded a second episode yesterday that was kind of prevalent based on a conversation I was having with a friend. It's about mental health, right? So that one's a little bit heavier than the other one, but it's, just kind of 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes long, just about me talking about, some of my own stuff, but also just, how I know I'm not the only one. And I know that I have friends that are struggling, and it's okay to say I'm not okay. And it's okay to go to your friends and be like, I need help, or I just need a friend. I need a shoulder. I need an ear, all of these things, because I have too many people in my life over the years that aren't here anymore because, they didn't know how to say that. So, that's important to me too. But that, that cast doesn't always go that heavy. Sometimes it's just me rambling about nothing. But that's basically like that one is just a free flow, I call it the flow of consciousness stream. Like I don't script it. I don't do anything. I'm like, I'm going to talk about this. And then I just hit record and I just talk. And then I go edit out all the ums that I can out of the audio, and then I post it and that's it. Like I don't do a whole lot of polish to that one. It's just kind of that's more. It is kind of a companion.
You mentioned the ums. If you ever heard of Toastmasters public speaking, every president, every senator, every CEO of a Fortune 500 company had to graduate from Toastmasters public speaking program. It's the world's most esteemed program, and usually in your local cities that they're hosting workshops at a bank during off bank hours, and it's usually like some of the uppities of the town.
Yeah.
And so your very first time in there, if you want to start the course without paying your very first day, they have you get up and talk for 5 to 10 minutes about anything you want, and they ask you to choose something that you're familiar with so that you can talk and fill that full 5 to 10 minutes. And you get up there and you do your best, and you sit down, and the very first thing when you sit down is they tell you, they're like, so when you were up there, you said 375 times, and so they so they're not even listening to anything you're saying. They're just
counting,
looking for the cues for and so your very first day, you're talking about a subject and so you're still using that so they're trying to get you to remove like small parts of habits that you have until you and then eventually you graduate. But that's kind of funny that you said that, because you're going in and removing the ums.
So, no, and you know what's wild too is today I did the cast with Jake, and I went back and listened to it. Like it's like an hour and 15-minute long cast, including the music. I listened to the whole thing. I had to edit out only like 2 ums out of the whole thing, and I was like, I can't believe that when I'm having conversation with people, I don't do it, but when I'm talking by myself, I can't. Like the places where I would stop to pause to let you get in to do a back and forth, repertoire with the conversation is where I find myself going. But what's the other wild thing is because I've been doing audio engineering and editing speech for a long time, like on my side time, I recognize when I do it, and I always do it the same way. I'll talk. I'll wait 2 seconds. I'll go, I'll wait 2 more seconds, and then I'll say something. And that way, when I go to cut it, I got this 6-second block of space.
You know exactly where to cut it.
Yeah, it cuts. Not only that, it cuts clean. And then what ends up happening is when you listen back to it, you'll never know that I said it there.
Right.
Because the way my breath and my diction go, it sounds like a continuous train of thought, or at the very least it sounds like I was saying something and I went on to the next point, and I just took a pregnant pause there to like breathe or something, you know what I mean? And like, so it sounds way more professional and way more literate is really the thing that I'm after, is like making sure that it sounds professional. I want these podcasts to make money in the future. I want to put advertising on them. I host them through Acast, right, to get them on Spotify and stuff. And the music cast, I don't think I'll ever be able to make money from, because I don't have the license to play 99% of the music that I put on there. So I'm like, you know what? As long as I'm not trying to make money from it, I'll probably not get in too much trouble. And if I do ever get in trouble, then I'll just quit doing it. It's no big deal. So I'll quit doing it.
I had a whole rant prepared for this podcast.
Sorry,
I got around to doing it. But I was gonna talk something about advertising and whatever. But I'll do it next week. It's no big deal.
Sorry, man. I didn't mean to take up all the time here.
No. It's totally good. It's totally good. I'm just reminding myself, basically.
Yeah.
I say it out loud. I can remember it.
There you go. No, I'm with you there.
So the Intelligent Aces podcast, I came up with this Intelligent Aces, which is smart ass. Basically, it was what the meaning behind Intelligent Aces came about. I just wanted something sarcastic. I wanted to do the podcast. I wanted to interview people and just meet new people, interviewing this kind of stuff, and get better at uploading videos, being consistent about uploading videos, being able to talk on camera, talk on mic. I'm terrible as a streamer. If there's nobody in chat, I'll start to talk, but about 30 minutes in, 40 minutes in, I lose all my steam. If nobody's talking back to me, I just start to shut up. I don't.
It's tough. Yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, I think that's everybody. I don't feel like that's a you thing. I think that's all of us.
I try hard to do the streamer ramble, which is just describe everything that's happening on the screen, basically. But yeah,
and you're doing the right thing. It's a look. I've been streaming off and on, mostly on, but off and on since 2011, under different aliases, on different streaming sites, playing different stuff, and start one thing, go for a while, stop, or like I started streaming and I started having kids and I got busy at work, and like, so it went to the wayside, and it was just kind of a hobby thing then.
Yeah.
And then like started real heavy when I, kind of came up with the Nerd Dad persona, but I have done my fair share of streaming to nobody for hours on end, and just it takes time. It takes a while to get to the point where you don't have to think about talking about, you know, whatever it is that you got going on. And like, yeah, same. It's just be obnoxious about describing the game is the best thing I could, you know, say to do. Like, all right, we're gonna fight this dude, and then we're gonna go fight this dude. My hope is that, you know, blah 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 blah. So, you know, and it's and I, you know, I talked about this tonight on my channel because I was talking about it. What was I talking about? I don't remember how we got on the topic, but I was discussing how, like, all the best streamers that I know started at zero, and but I do know some great streamers that kind of got handed a position, right? And some of them took the ball and ran with it, and some of them did exactly what most people do, which is not appreciate a freebie. You know, we always appreciate things that we pay for, whether we're paying cash or we're paying time. Somehow we're paying for what we have, and you appreciate it when you pay for it. And I think that goes doubly true for this, because what you have is not just a thing. You have relationships, and the threads of brotherhood, you know, a fellowship that you build with people through a medium like streaming games on Twitch, you know, is tough to compare to a lot of other things. I mean, it's the closest thing to that friendship that you made in school age days, because, you know, you and the other kid both like, you know, both of you like playing Final Fantasy, or you both like playing Sonic the Hedgehog, and you gushed about, you know, I love Sonic the Hedgehog. I do too, man. I think Knuckles is really cool. And then, like, boom, instant friendship. You know what I mean? And like doing this
we just become best friends.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And like playing video games on the internet as an adult, you know, I'm married, I got 4 kids, I got a full-time job. You know, I can't go out and hang out and meet people in the street, and I can't go to events all the time, and I can't be out places. But me and you and Eli, we can all be in the same place together, regardless of where we are geographically in the country. And
some of my closest friends, there's a couple of guys, even in chat, I've never even met, considered one of my closest friends. I mean, just I've been playing video games with him for 10 years now,
dude,
since 2014.
Brother, that's me and Conquest, man. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, me and Conquest just and I don't know from his side, right? He can explain it, you know, from his end if you want. But like with me, and from me to him, I was like, dude, it's like instant brotherhood with this guy. Like, me and his whatever his demeanor, his delivery, his whole like outlook on what he was doing, I vibed with it immediately. Jake is another guy that was like that, and like it's just like there's just people that you meet, and it's like, man, and I said this the other day to my chat. I said, I'm so grateful, and I'm trying to be more actively appreciative of it, and not like, you know, when it's quiet, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I'm trying to be more actively appreciative of it. Like, I would never have met any of you if it wasn't for playing games on the internet. I wouldn't have. Eli's in Arkansas, man. I wouldn't have bumped into him in the street here. I wouldn't have ran into him at the local game shop.
Literally like my neighbor. Like, if I threw a rock hard enough, I would literally hit his house.
Yeah, I was gonna say Eli's just convenient because he's so close to me. He's literally block and a half away.
No, right. But I mean, that's cool. That's cool too, though, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, that's also. I mean, it's not to you know, discount that. That's also equally dope.
Well,
but it's like,
we would go on Fridays to the pizza place down the street, and I would drink some beers, and he'd have a beer, and we would get into some pretty, you know, great conversations. I think at one point he was like, "Why aren't we just streaming this?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's fucking brilliant." And it started with a movie review for Godzilla. The new Godzilla was you know, it was an epic enough movie, I think, that we ended up with like some content to kind of go off of, which I felt like it's one of the greater movies I've seen in a long time. And before I lose this subject real quick, of course, Dune, for anybody who's a fan of sci-fi or a fan of the series, a lot of people who like the original Dune and the books weren't a fan of the initial film. It's kind of gained its own momentum with the new generation, with Zendaya fans saying that she wasn't in the movie enough on the first film. Like, that was that's the criticism that the movie gets. You know what I mean? That like some new star wasn't in the film enough.
Right.
So, but the new movie releases on March 1st, and critics have seen the movie, and the reviews across the board are all extremely positive, including comparisons to The Empire Strikes Back and The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, drawing comparisons to those two movies.
Damn.
The first reactions have arrived, and they're all pretty well positive. As I mentioned, they'll never get tired of how spaceships and space worms feel real in this film. And the thing that all the critics are saying now, as compared to the criticism from the first one, is anyone who thought there wasn't enough Zendaya in the first film has a lot to look forward to. So that's just
Nice.
like 2 weeks away, you know.
Yeah.
You're
so
not gonna have to go watch that movie.
Absolutely, sir.
I haven't watched
to.
the first one, so
You did watch the first one?
I have not.
Oh, have not. So the soundtrack is an epic. You know, it's unique. It for the original films and for the new films, the soundtrack is on a level of like Elden Ring fucking epicness, fighting a boss like, oh, you know, and you're like,
Yeah.
Peaked your mic.
like, yeah, it's fucking great.
I've never seen the original Dune, nor have I seen the new Dune. I'm not a movie guy, like straight up. Like,
Yeah, I'm not either.
These are like super long movies too. Like these are
Yeah.
like Lord of the Rings. Like these are like 3 hours long. The
terrible
old
for me.
ones.
I've
Oh,
only
yeah.
ever seen one Lord of the Rings movie. I've never seen the other two, and like
Oh my god.
I've actually
seen-
watched all of those, but yeah.
I've only seen the first one, whatever, Fellowship of the Ring. I think I
Oh,
saw that,
Fellowship.
and that's it. So I never saw Two Towers or Return of the King. I
Or
have seen
Hobbit.
all this. I have seen all the Star Wars because I do really like Star
There
Wars.
we
Star Wars is like my exception to that. And I've seen a ton of like the Marvel cinematic stuff. Like I really liked.
Oh yeah.
It is, I guess, a hot opinion. I pretty much liked everything they put out, even into like the shitty phase stuff. Like I still liked those movies too. Like I had just as much fun with those as I did with like the Infinity War era stuff. Like I don't think any of those movies have been bad personally. I think I have some of them are better than others, yes, but I don't think any of them are bad. I think some of them just they suffer the comparative disease where like okay, they're not as good as like the best movie to me still is Captain America: Winter Soldier. Like that's
That
the
was a good
best
one.
Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like period. Like I don't give a like anything. That movie where Bucky just comes in as a freaking badass the whole movie is dope. So good. Like everything about that movie is perfect to me. But other than that, you know, I like Super Troopers. That's my other favorite movie ever. And then like, you know,
Oh, yeah,
outside of that,
Troopers.
my thinking on the Marvel Cinematic Universe is I'm glad they ended with Endgame and they've made nothing else ever since.
see, I didn't mind like all the stuff. I liked all the stuff that kept coming after that, man. I
I
liked
haven't watched any of it. It literally none of it.
Thor Ragnarok is great.
Oh, I like the Thors.
Thor Love and Thunder was funny.
Ragnarok was good.
It was
but
funny.
that was before. That was
I would
pre
say
Endgame.
Thor. What was the one you just said? The
That was
funny
after.
one. The funny Thor.
Ragnarok.
Love
was
and Thunder.
before.
No,
Love and Thunder.
I think
Thor,
Ragnarok
Love and
was
Thunder
after, wasn't it?
was like its
No,
own little
because that was
microcosm of
because
Marvel.
it was actually because we're
funny,
in
but it
games.
was just different.
Infinity War starts is right after
You're right.
right after
You're right.
Ragnarok.
You're right.
Where all the Asgards are going.
They're on the ship. Yeah, you're right. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
they had to introduce the.
You're right. I'm sorry. I don't know. Love and Thunder was good. I liked the Spider-Man movies. I thought were really good.
No Way Home was fantastic. And all the Spider-Man.
But Love and Thunder bombed really, really bad, and
Well,
it had a
they've
bad
all
audience reaction apparently.
Even
Doctor
I thought it was
Strange.
funny, but I think people were just expecting the normal, and it wasn't. It
Doctor-
wasn't a normal.
The Doctor Strange 2 movie was great.
Oh, I love Doctor Strange.
Multiverse
So
of Madness.
Strange, if you
It's
saw in the theater in 3D,
haven't seen it.
that was the first movie that took 3D to the whole next level, in my opinion. I've seen a lot of 3D movies. Whenever someone would come out, oh, they got to see this 3D movie. They finally did the 3D right. And I was like, yeah, it was still just like, okay, there's an asteroid scene and an asteroid gets close to it. It's like,
Yeah, right.
oh,
yeah.
I didn't expect that to happen in a 3D movie. But then
Oh.
fucking Doctor Strange came out and fucking did what Doctor Strange did with the 3D. And
Changed
it's
the
like,
game.
it was like a forced LSD trip. You were in that
Right.
fucking mindfuck world. Shit was going down. It was intense. It was really, really intense. People were getting motion sickness when that movie came out in the theater. Like people couldn't handle it. It was like virtual reality almost.
I
Yeah.
will
No,
say
It was a
that
good, really good movie. I loved it.
the problem with modern movies that's been coming out recently is they're too long. Sitting in that movie theater for over 2.5 hours is just too much. It's
No, that
much
is a
long time.
little excessive. I'll
Like Godzilla was,
give you that.
I think it was 90 minutes or something. Godzilla -1 was like 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Hour and a
Yeah.
half, in and out, you're good to go. You don't have to
Yeah.
spend like go in at 6 and get out at midnight. It's way too long. That's just too much.
Yeah,
to be in a
no.
movie theater.
I think well, and I think it robs the movies that like Infinity War and Endgame. Yeah, you want to give me 2.5 hours of those two movies?
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Because they are the ultimate culmination of so much other stuff.
Right.
So yeah, cool. Give it all the breath it needs. But yeah, then when you put out another just regular mainline entry of it, and it's also 2.5 hours, and you're like,
Right.
well, that now it's not special anymore.
Right,
you kind of you robbed the special setting of, you know, this epic length movie by making a regular movie the same length. So I'm with you there. I will agree to that 100%.
Yeah, that hurts them pretty badly, and it's not just Marvel too. Like I guess the Star Wars movies were all super. Like just most movies now are just super long for whatever reason.
Well, you know what's crazy? So Conquest brought this up on stream, or did you do it, Eli? So one of you guys was talking about doing like a 24-hour live stream of you watching. It was basically a 24-hour live reaction stream of you watching the Star Wars movies.
No,
It was either you or Conquest. I can't remember.
It wasn't me, but
Okay.
I like it. I like it a
But
lot.
his idea was how long is it to watch all of the Star Wars movies sequentially?
So
and
I've actually Googled this because
I did too.
There's a lot. And if you count the shows, it's a lot more than you would think of. Like the Star Trek versus Star Wars worlds of how much, if you watch everything and you watched everything, you would think Star Wars would just get duped on by, because there's a lot of Star Trek out there. No, there's a lot of fucking Star Wars.
There's not.
Well, we looked up the 9 movies plus Solo and Rogue Squadron, and it was like 25 hours or 26 hours or something like that.
Clone Wars. You forget Clone Wars here.
Not the show.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, we're not. No shows in this. Just movies. Just the 9 Star Wars movies plus the Solo movie and the Rogue Squadron movie.
Or you can watch all 3 Lord of the Rings movies extended cuts and still have 25 hours.
So he was. I said, I don't know. Maybe I said, I'm guessing maybe like 20 hours at the max. And then I looked it up. Yeah, I was like 26 or something. Because every movie, even back to the originals, every Star Wars movies runs longer than 2 hours. Even the original trilogy.
Yeah,
each movie is longer than 2 hours a piece. Yeah. And I was like, that was I mean, movies were like $1.30 at the most back in the day.
As a kid, I mean, with the time was different. I don't know if it was just me. I think it was everybody. But when you're a kid, time was totally different. I had never made it through a whole Star Wars or Lord of the Rings when I was a little kid. Like I would fall asleep and then wake up and try to get back into it and finish it. Like
right.
And my dad just sitting there watching. Like back in the day, there wasn't new Star Wars, so it was just the 3, and he would watch them all. And then like I'd be in and out of naps the whole time, and he's just sitting there going like.
That was a day. That was a full day marathon back in the day. I mean, it was 8 hours of like film time between all the extra features crap. If you're watching that too, and it's just like, dang, bro, like.
And my dad would rewind the tapes afterwards before we started the next one. Like, you didn't just take it out and start a new one.
Yeah.
No, you rewind it now.
Oh, you didn't have the external rewinder jank that people got duped for?
We eventually got one of those where you slide it in and push it in or whatever. Yeah. I remember those.
It was a VHS player that didn't connect to a monitor.
Yeah.
That shit was such a rip, dude. Somebody made a boatload of money on that because I think everybody in my family had, not I think my parents had one, my grandparents had one, my other grandparents had one. I think all my aunts and uncles had them in their houses, and I was just like, fuck, dude, you guys, why? It's already built into your VCR. How, when are you ever, and back in the day, when were you ever watching a movie and then immediately throwing another VHS tape to watch another movie? Like, that was never happening.
Right.
Unless you were watching the Titanic VHS.
Once you got the fancy VCRs, that like as soon as the movie ends, it just rewinds itself.
Starts rewinding. I remember those too. Yep.
Crazy, dude.
I remember I'd found one of those rewinder deals at a house I was renting, like in a cabinet or something. I was like, oh look, I found an ancient relic.
Right.
You're like an archaeologist looking into the past. What could this population have used this for?
Dr. Jones. It's
Well,
a
it looks
VHS
like-
recorder.
But it doesn't go to a TV. They were using it for something else. I just can't imagine what it would be.
This looks like a VCR, but it doesn't have a play button.
Actually,
It
this
just
one,
has a fast forward and rewind.
this
What?
one was just it was just big enough for a tape to like it would open up like a CD
Yeah.
player,
Yeah.
and the tape would get it, and it would clamshell down, and then it just had a
Yeah.
rewinder down in
That's
the middle.
it. That was it, dude. It was like a fat ass Walkman. That was it,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
and it's
shit.
it just fast forward and rewind the tape. Like like I said, total rip off because
Brilliant.
you just do that in your VCR. What are you doing?
And it's a modern
VCRs.
convenience.
I will
It's
say,
a
I will
modern
say, I'm glad we
convenience.
are beyond tape for audio
Oh,
and
yeah.
video now. Like digital.
Well,
is so
also
much
just
better.
for the preservation alone, like the old film vaults, those won't last just because of the nature of the magnetic properties, I guess, in film. So like we're losing the old stuff that they just put down in a vault and tried to like contain with like lead walls and like what is it, a Faraday
cage.
Faraday cage, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like the ultimate protection because just general like solar flares that travel through the earth or whatever like decay these things, I guess.
Yeah.
So I mean, and it's got like we got to think about that because how many things are if we plan on being like a long-term civilization, like there won't be a record like unless we build like pyramids.
Okay, here's my thing.
All of Metallica's albums, how many pyramids will that take? Just start tearing down the Rockies because that music needs to live on in pyramid code. I'm telling you that right now.
I will say that, and I know I'm an outlier on this. I don't have nostalgia. Like it's just not a thing for me, really.
Right.
Like old games are old to me. Like I bought the mini in Nintendo, Super Nintendo or whatever it was, with like 30 games on it.
Yeah.
And I never played Nintendo games. I was a Sega guy. I grew up with Sega.
Yeah.
So I was like, I like those games, but I never really got the chance to play through them. I bought it. I played through like half of Super Mario World, and that was it. Like I haven't touched that thing since. And I'm like, yeah, I just don't care to go back. I know there's a big deal with like people talking about they're getting rid of physical media, and I'm like, I'm okay with it. Digital downloads are fine with me. Well, you don't actually own it. They can just delete it off your hard drive. I'll probably be done playing with it at that point. I don't really care. It doesn't really hurt my feelings that much.
That's such an easy way to live too, man. Like
Yeah.
like I'm a little jealous that you can live that because like I am a fucking idiot when it comes to the preservation of physical media, and I want it. I'm such a it's such a fight that I fight, and I know that it's like.
And I totally agree with the fight. I totally do. Like people.
It's such an uphill battle,
preserving, like physical media. I totally understand it.
I guess
personally,
it
doesn't matter.
Not
to me.
interested.
Personally, it doesn't matter.
Little.
I'm more concerned with people who are concerned about it. Honestly, that's where my concern draws from.
On that little Nintendo thing you got, I guess you wouldn't want it, but I did hear that like if it's only got the 30 or whatever games on there, that there's enough memory on there to hold like a couple more 100 games, and they just last moment decided not to put all these other games on there. Yep. So you can basically like jailbreak that. I guess it's easy, and you can get like on a download and put like all the games ever made for Nintendo on there. You don't have to add like an extra chip or some shit.
I think Doobs, because he's playing Pokemon Yellow on his SNES Classic, and I think that's what he did to load that game on there.
Yeah,
because it's just an emulator, so it's you know what I mean. You don't have to do anything all that crazy to like you said to add stuff to it. It's all right there already waiting for you. It just needs few minor tweaks and adjustments, which are almost entirely software based. So you know what I mean. You're good to go if you want to do that. But like I said, the thing is, I've only really, and I don't know why. I'm not really sure what. Maybe it's because I'm getting older, and like, I'm feeling the gentle breeze of death across my cheek every so often, knowing that I'm getting closer to being dead than I was to the time that I was born, and so like not that I get not that I get like super hard up about it, but I have noticed myself like being way more interested in reobtaining like classic games that I had as a kid and playing them again.
Yeah.
And like I got my wife got me one of those Anbernic RG35XX, handheld emulator things, which I love. So I mean, I don't mind playing them, on an emulator too. It doesn't have to be physical media stuff, but if it's not going to break the bank or be a super inconvenience for me to procure it and play like Pokemon Blue, you know what I mean? Like, I'd like to do it. I got a bunch of PS2 games in this cab behind me that I'm waiting to pull the trigger on playing on stream. And like,
I think it's
I
a
was-
style too for people.
Yeah.
Like, if you like retro gaming, you might also like a lot of cult classic retro films. You might also like a lot of cult classic retro music. If you don't have that nostalgia bug, then
Yeah.
there's no need to consume the things that, one, you might have already consumed, or two, you purposefully chose to avoid. And you're just, you want to experience new. And I get that. And a lot of times, like for me, I'm kind of in the middle on both. And I guess it's the gentle breeze of death swinging by. But I find myself now like not knowing what the fuck. If I change my radio station to anything that's modern at all, like newer, I don't know any of this shit. They're like, up and the number one song on the fucking Billboard, and I'm like, this is number one right now. And then I'm hearing my uncle or my dad's voice in my head. I'm like, this music nowadays,
back in my day.
shit. But no, there's actually still good stuff coming out. They just ain't playing it on the radio, just like they didn't play it on the radio back in the day when I listened to the pop stations. Like,
So
fucking Beyonce's new hit single 800 times a day, 3 times an hour. That shit is still going on. It's like whoever gets in good with a record company, they're gonna push your shit. And ultimately, who the fuck knows why? There's like some hidden message
Jimmy,
in the
thanks for
song that they
follow.
want mainstream being repeated,
on.
so that all day long you've got fucking this shit going on your head. So it's like genuinely fucking bullshit. End of my
Yeah. There you go. Big
So-
homie Jim, that's my dude, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Welcome in. I was gonna say that thinking about it in my way, like PS2 games and stuff. There's a lot of games I can remember fondly playing on PS2. Would I want to go back and play them? Like GTA Vice City. I played the hell out of that game. You couldn't pay me enough to go back and play that game right now, especially with just the modern GTA games that are out now. Like they're just so much better with the controls and stuff like that. Now, like classic Sonic, I can go play classic Sonic about anywhere. Like you can just download classic Sonic stuff.
Yeah,
I
man.
think even the hardcore retro people draw a line. Like for instance, almost every single hardcore full-time retro streamer, with the exception of the new remastered Lara Croft or Tomb Raider, but like anybody you watch go play the old Tomb Raiders, they're ranting and fucking raving about the game mechanics, like in a bad way. Not ranting, they're ranting. They're pissed off, like the game mechanics, and that's an iconic, nostalgic title. But you'll see people fucking rage quitting and fucking making some crazy faces on stream playing.
They just came out with the original. I guess the original trilogy of Lara Croft.
The texture is amazing.
There's an upscale. There's an upscale and a downscale. But like, okay, I say up and downscale, but like. There's a toggle, much like the Halo series that they did, where you could switch between what the game looked like on PlayStation 1 to the updated stuff. And you can just flip flop back and forth on the graphics.
Yeah, they did that with Diablo 2. Diablo 2 Resurrected did that. If you press F on Diablo 2 Resurrected, I think, or G, it's either F or G, it'll switch it back to like the original Diablo 2 graphics.
That's pretty. Why are you not grateful? This is what you're getting.
Yeah. Well, it's like but it's seamless. You just press it, it goes zip, 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 zip. Like it's not
that's what it was.
Master Chief Collection.
It doesn't have to reload or nothing. So
instant. And I guess the one of the videos I watched today, like so, the original controls are there as well as a new like more fluid controls with it.
Right.
Really?
And that's one thing. Like I may pick that up. Like I said, I'm not really nostalgic about old games, but like I don't know, I may give that one a shot.
They've remastered it. It looks like the game mechanics are still really similar, so that's good.
Yeah, the puzzles and stuff were fun in Tomb Raider.
Well, I think part of what you get too with some of the retro streamers anyway is I think like there's this proud peacock thing with retro gamer who play on like OG hardware, right? Not guys who just play emulators, but guys who play on like OG hardware, where they're like, "That's right, I hooked up my Super Nintendo to this and to an upscaler, and now I'm running it to a capture card and I'm streaming it here, blah 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 blah. And it's like basically them going like, yeah, I still own a working Super Nintendo. Yeah, I own a card of Final Fantasy 3, like games that are hard to come by or cost a decent amount of money to purchase. And I think some of that is posturing, to be like, that's right, I own this hard to obtain game. And I mean, like, look, I have my list. I have let me grab it.
And that's really where you start to transcend to, where you're not just a retro player playing on original equipment. You start to transcend into a segment of society where the majority of the people who are doing the same thing that you're doing aren't streaming though, but they've got these massive collections where they treasure them. And then that's a huge part of their identity.
I got 3 games right here, right? And I can't really see them very well. But so that one on top, that's Xenosaga Episode 3, right? So I paid like $20 for that. This is complete inbox, right? It's a CIB, game case, game discs, and the booklet. To sell this as it is, even though it's open and used, but to sell this as it is right now is about $250 to $300 for this game because it was limited print.
That's
right.
Awesome.
And like, I want to play this on stream. I'm going to play this on stream at some point. And I'm going to play it on my PS2. I'm going to be one of those dudes. And a little bit it's going to be like, yeah, bitch, I own that. And I only paid $20 for it. I didn't pay, I didn't pay.
I didn't pay no $250 for it.
And then I also got Dot Hack 2 and 3, and I'm saving up my pennies to buy Dot Hack 4. But like, I got these two together for a little less than $100. But like, there's 4 Dot Hack games, and they less and less copies of each. So Dot Hack 4 is kind of like this. It's about $300 to buy a complete inbox copy of Dot Hack 4. And it's like, I'm saving up my money. I'm going to buy a copy because I want to have the whole collection. But, part of that playing the retro thing is not to say that, not as because necessarily just because they like retro games better, but some of it is very much like swagger and peacock shit. Yeah, and like, and hey, you know what? Listen, you paid your money, or you were a dutiful collector and you maintained your collection for a long time. And you know what? Good for you. I mean, I'm not like this. This is not me hating on people, but part of that, like, part of the point I'm getting to is like, you not having nostalgia is not a problem, but there are people out there who are absolutely like, the old games are so much better than the new games, and it's like, are we sure about that? Because I can pretty much remember playing some really shit classic games that people talk about to this day that got re-released and remastered, and I'd much rather play the remaster.
I did have a thought about a game that I wish that I could. I can't replay it right now because it is. I think you have to have like the old console to play it. That was Tenchu Stealth Assassins.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Those Stealth Assassin games, and I wish they would do. I thought they were going to do another one. But they didn't. It come out to be, what was the? Oh, it was from Soft Sekiro.
Oh, there's been
twice.
Yeah, Sekiro. Like, God, I think it was brutal. There has been some. That name Tenchu has been brought up in the conversation recently about either like a collection release or a remaster or just a new title altogether.
That would be awesome. I would love that. And honestly, like, where are the ninja games at, guys? Like, we need ninja games. We haven't had any like solid ninja games in years. It feels like.
So Gaiden was the last. Here's the good news.
Ninja Gaiden. Wow.
If you did want to go buy, copies of Tenchu Stealth Assassin for the PlayStation, it was printed pretty heavily. Mm-hmm. You might pay $15 for it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
But I have to.
So it's not like
PlayStation. I don't have my.
Oh well, there you go. Well, you could buy the game and then put the disc in your computer and play on RetroArch if you didn't want to buy a PlayStation, or a PS2 if you have a PS2.
I do have a PS2. I've got the console. I don't know where any of the cables or controllers or anything are for it. I do have the console.
Well, do you have the fat PS2 or the skinny PS2?
The fat one, I think.
The fat one. So the fat one, I think, has. I don't have my fat one anymore. I know the skinny one has a specific power cable. One of them has a pretty universal power cable.
Oh yeah, this is pretty universal.
Is it the DB? Yeah, DB cable. Yeah. So
Poor,
that's a
poor-
universal cable. Yep.
That poor PlayStation.
Or an
That's
IO
PlayStation.
cable.
I've got memory
PlayStation.
cards in it still, but I don't have any of the.
Yeah. So I mean, you could. So AV cables for those. The PS2 and the PS1 use the same AV cables. They're a dime a dozen, and those power cables are universal and are not, because the power module is actually in the console, so you just need path to AC power.
I probably have one of those cables in a box here somewhere. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to get it, I don't know about the controller. I'd have to find a.
Yeah,
well,
that's so
can
awesome. I just realized that on the old ones, when you plugged it in, you had that big old fucking square block, and if you were into your game and you went and touched that after some serious gaming, that shit, you could cook an egg on that little fucking block that you plugged in.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we moved the fuck away from those.
No, we didn't. We moved to it. That was the problem. The PS1 and the PS2 had their power, their transformers inside the console. The second gen PS2, the thin one, and then I take that back. I'm sorry. The thin PS2, because it was skinny, had its power transformer outside of it. The PS3 uses a 3-prong cable for it, and then the PS4 and the PS5, I'm pretty sure, went back to same power cable type, and put their power transformer on the inside. The Xbox, on the other hand, always put theirs on the outside.
Yeah.
Which was supposed to reduce heat, but look at the Xbox 360 and how many Red Ring of Death things we had. Obviously, putting the power transformer outside of the console didn't do diddly squat.
And eventually, when this started, the first few episodes started with Eli was live in the room with me, and I'm eventually going to build a podcast set in this room.
Nice.
And I wanted to decorate. I wanted to get all my PlayStation generations, which I'll have to. I've lost my.
Reminded me of 360.
I've lost my PS3. I lent it out to a friend of mine, and I never got it back.
Oh my god.
PS1 long gone, but I still have a PS2 console. But I can get those consoles pretty cheap. But now
that happened with my favorite
game
on Super Nintendo. I finally saved up money and bought my first Super Nintendo game that I wanted, instead of just renting them or having to have my brother and I have to choose one together. And it was Killer Instinct. And I fucking lent it to somebody at school to be cool, and I never got. And it was for like Pitfall, which I really wanted to play, but had never played it. Or I think it was Pitfall, and I hated Pitfall. And I was like, why'd I ever trade this fucking game? And I never got it back. It was like a horrible trade.
This PS1 that I have right here is the original PlayStation 1 that my brother got for Christmas in 1998.
Badass, dude.
Unfortunately, the laser on it is dying.
I think mine. I think I had mine, and when I moved to Arkansas from Missouri, my parents moved too, but they were in the process of their house was still in my hometown, and it burnt down when no one was living in it. So lost all of the stuff that I had.
Oof, that sucks.
So
I have a 3. I think it's in a box. I think I put it back in its box. I have a 4. The 4. So when I bought the 5 is actually directly behind this monitor. I moved my 4 out of my office and put it in my bedroom. So on the nights that I don't stream, I can lay in bed and play PlayStation.
My 4. So I bought the Destiny Edition white PS4 when Destiny launched. That's been the only console I've had its whole generation. So since 2014, I think is when that game came out. Yeah, it was 2014. I bought it on my birthday in 2014. That's my birthday present. And I've had that same console. This whole generation, one console, pretty good. I haven't burned it out, and I put a bunch of hours in on it.
I have mine. I think I got mine. I don't have that one, but I have it. I think I probably bought it around the same time, and I got into. Let me here. Hang on a second. Let me switch something over real fast. I'll show you.
So they came out with the what was the limited edition PS4 Pro? It was like the 20th anniversary, I think.
That's what
something like that.
Johnny has Slaying Crows, the PS4 Pro. So a lot of people don't know this, but PlayStation has been doing some shady things. So
Oh,
when I
yeah.
first hit affiliate, was about a few days afterwards is when PlayStation rolled out their what is it, capping, I guess, where the upload caps. So if you go into your PlayStation and 4, not the Pro still works. You can stream directly from your Pro. But if you go into a PlayStation 4 and you run an internet test, it'll show your upload speed at like
Oh, yeah.
4 or 5, no
No,
matter if you have
that was a
100 or
big,
if you
yeah,
have
no,
50.
that was a big
But
thing,
if you
and I
go-
know that the downloads capped too. The downloads capped at like 30 or 40.
But if you go into the built-in web browser on the PlayStation and go to speed test or like Ookla or any speed
Yeah.
internet test and run it, it'll show your actual internet test. So that the cap is literally in the PlayStation
Oh yeah, it's in the hardware.
software. They don't want people streaming directly to Twitch, YouTube,
Well,
etc.
it wasn't
from
that.
the consoles on
So,
an old PlayStation 4s.
it wasn't
somehow
that.
slowing it up or something.
It wasn't
And
that
they
so
don't
much
lie.
as
You can call and they'll be like, "We haven't slowed down nothing. There's no cap at all."
there is a cap. There was always a cap on that generation when it first came out. There was a cap, but at the time, so the cap was, I think it was basically so that you wouldn't run up like a huge data bill, more or less, because even back then when those came out, there was like a amount of data per month cap. Like it
Right.
was huge. It wasn't like a cell phone. It was like 300 or 400 gigs or whatever. It's like a crazy amount. But because the games were getting so large, I think that's why they capped it down. But yeah, so PlayStation did have a download cap at like I think it's the download was like 30.
the upload cap.
Yes, but
upload cap.
there's a download cap as well.
Oh, really?
You can't on a regular PlayStation, on my regular PlayStation in there, if I want to download a 100 gig game, it would take 45 minutes to an hour or longer, and I have gigabyte internet. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah. You talking about Destiny, I was like, I still have the first look out on my PlayStation
Nice.
account. I'm like, yes. Dude, Destiny is one of my favorite series in like a long time.
Yeah,
I never
love
played it until this past week. I played it for 2 days in a row. Destiny 2.
Mhm.
I downloaded it and played it with some buds, and it was really fun. I didn't hate it.
it's
pretty
got
fun.
great gunplay.
Yeah,
and
mechanically it's fantastic.
the story is really good too. Like there are some dips here and there, but the overarching plot is pretty
Yeah, it was
pretty
great.
cool, man.
Great
Des-
graphics, great
Destiny
cutscenes,
1,
great story.
I played the heck out of Destiny 1. And then when Destiny 2 came out, we got back into it pretty hardcore for a little while.
Yeah.
And then like it fell off, just kind of did. And then they kept coming out with all these expansions and
Oh yeah, they
doing that.
sure do shove those DLCs down your throat when you're.
Well, see,
playing the
I
full
even see
version.
now that like you can go and play Kingsfall raid. Kingsfall is
Yeah.
back on Destiny 2 right now.
So they cycle the classics
Mhm.
through now, which is pretty neat. So I when I mentioned before, right? So I used to stream. I left Twitch for a while and I went to Beam, which then became Mixer. And when I was over there, I was I was a Destiny streamer. That's the only game I played.
Yeah.
And I told you earlier, like I bought an Xbox One, and it was because most of the people over there were Microsoft gamers or Xbox gamers. And so I was playing primarily on the PS4, but I wanted to play with people over there. So I went out and bought a used Xbox One. I bought the Destiny collection, Destiny 1 collection, probably right around the time Rise of Iron came out, because I think the one I bought for the Xbox One had all the Destiny 1 stuff in it. And then that was it. It was the only game I played. And I built a whole community over there around Destiny because it wasn't really popular on the site. Like so many people were playing, like PUBG was real popular, H1Z1 at the time. And
H1Z1.
yeah. And then or Call of Duty or Halo, right? Those were because they were all like at Microsoft games. And I was like, well, I don't really like playing any of those, but I like playing Destiny a lot. So I'll just play this. And then like I'm just gonna stay right here in Destiny. And I'm like, I'm gonna just plant my flag and forge a thing. And dude, I did, man. I built a huge community over there.
That's awesome.
Doing it. And then they sold it to Facebook and they're like, hey, you can go to be a Facebook streamer. And I was like, you kiss my ass, I'm out of here. And so I came back to Twitch. But the problem was so many of the people over there were, Twitch expats essentially, who were like, we left Twitch because we don't like it.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not going back.
I'm in that boat. I don't really like Twitch. It's the only thing I stream on, but at the same time, I'm not a huge fan of it. I never got into PUBG. It just battle royales.
Was that the first battle royale?
No, technically
one
no,
of,
but it was
maybe.
one of the it was the first most popular one at the time.
Yeah.
But
First
Destiny,
one,
Destiny,
it seemed like PUBG, and then Fortnite. Was Fortnite before PUBG?
Well, so
No.
original Fortnite was Save the World, which was just a base builder.
Oh.
What you call it? So
like a tower defense game
H1Z1.
almost.
Essentially, yeah, it was a wave defender game.
Wave
it was
defender.
basically like Call of Duty Zombies.
Yeah,
Wow.
Essentially, was what it was.
And honestly, that's when I started playing Fortnite. We all started playing Fortnite because of that mode. And then when Battle Royale came out, we were all like, "Ah, fuck this! We don't want to do the Battle Royale."
And that was it. Battle Royale was this like super side edition thing. They were like, "Hey, check this out. We use the same assets to make another."
Now
it's
a
PvP
game in the world. Like, I'm assuming Fortnite is the biggest game in the world.
Like, but I could just remember it being because you had to pay for Save the World, but Fortnite Battle Royale was free when it first came out, and you had to pay. It still is free, but I mean, like, you had to pay for Save the World, the core game. It was like $30. Now I don't even think they support that anymore. I don't think you can get that anywhere anymore.
I don't think so either.
And like,
well, I seen somebody playing something similar to that the other day. Honestly,
well, they have a mode in there that's waves. They've got different things where there's like all kinds of different things that are wave based. I accidentally got into a few of them, and there's like monster things coming at you. And
so I played. I downloaded Fortnite for the first time. It wasn't created. That was the original game.
Yeah,
was that wave based stuff. But now, if you go into Fortnite and you open it up, there's like 17 different game modes you can play. There's like a kart racer. There's the Lego version, which is a survival craft.
Yeah,
you can create your own. If you have 1,000 followers on something, anyone can go in and create on the maps, right? But if you have 1,000 followers or 100 or something like that on a social media or on streaming, then you can get your map published. And if you get it published, anyone who plays it can donate money directly to your bank account through creator support. And so when you upload your map, you put in like a code, and when anyone's in it. And so I just learned this, but back in the day, you're playing in these little mini things, and there's always these signs that say support a creator. And I was like, what is this? Sometimes you didn't even know how to play the game that you loaded into.
Yeah.
The only thing you'd find was the support a creator thing. I just learned the person who made that's a way to actually send them money for creating that, I guess.
So the original, I was thinking about the Save the World mode. Basically, all the building and stuff, you would build like traps or whatever. But it was also a gacha game.
Oh.
Because you'd have to earn credits to buy, and it got progressively higher and higher amounts of credits, so you'd have to play more and more missions. But you had to win llamas, and llamas were like loot boxes that would have blueprints in them that you could build better weapons with. The only way to get better weapons was to get more loot. So it became like it was like a gacha game, survival craft or whatever.
And you would build. You have to survive enough time, and then you would actually get on the bus that you drop out of in Battle Royale.
No way.
That was your escape method, was to get on the bus.
That bus does kind of look like a zombie bus.
So it's like
you'd have to be airing up the balloon that would carry the zombie bus away. You have to wait for the balloon to air up.
Army.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I played that a bunch back in the day. Like, that was cool. And then the Battle Royale mode, I was like, I'm not really into King of the Hill. That's not my thing. I mean, because that's what Battle Royale was originally called way back when. It was King of the Hill. I was like, I'm not really into King of the Hill mode in games like this. I mean, it's cool, but I don't know. Of course, famous last words, right? I don't know if this is ever really going to be, super popular or anything like that.
Chase just says he doesn't do nostalgia and goes into a 15-minute nostalgia spree about Fortnite.
Yeah, but I won't go back and play it. That's my thing.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I'd say that's not super nostalgic. I mean, if they would redo another version of that, I'd play something like that.
Well, I can remember, speaking of like PUBG, right? I mean, I can remember when PlayerUnknown's Battleground first came to console, because it was like a PC only thing forever. And because that's what it means. That's what it stands for, right? PlayerUnknown.
I didn't know about it till it was a phone game. Someone at work was like, "Check this out," and they slapped on their phone, and I was like, "You can do this at work?"
Well,
yeah. So the thing is, the guy that made it, so like PlayerUnknown is a person, right? So the game is called PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. The game is just Battleground and play. It's game made by PlayerUnknown. It was a mod. What did he use? Like, what was the base for the original PlayerUnknown's thing? Did he use a? Oh man, he wasn't using a Counter-Strike like frame to build it on, was he? I forget what he was using to build it on, but he was using another game.
Was it H1Z1?
And then I can't remember. I didn't, maybe because they were very similar. I didn't play a ton of H1Z1. I played a little bit of it.
Arma.
Oh, PUBG was built on Arma. That's right. But then he had to take it off of there because he didn't own it, right? So they had to build it on something else. And then when he built it on something else, I think is when it came to consoles. But like, that was just one dude who made a mod, who made a Battle Royale mod, a King of the Hill mod, and like a custom map on the thing, and it just took off and became
the guy
its
that
own.
made Lethal Company is a game that's blowing up all over the place. Everybody's playing that.
Dude, Dota. Defense of the Ancients is like that. I don't know if you guys ever did MOBAs back in the day.
So I guess I'm a little behind on shit because I didn't even know about I seen Dota 2. I heard about it, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't click on it until a Netflix documentary came out about esports and talking about how Dota rose up and basically
started it.
It started esports and like people like that was the first big like $1 million anything for gaming where you could win just for playing video games. Like what the fuck?
What's Dota's? It's not the Invitational. What do they call it?
You would have to pray to the Blockbuster gods that you would get selected to play the games at the Blockbuster near you. Remember, there's like Blockbuster tournaments, like
and win $50.
Sign up for them and never ever even get to be part of it. Like I didn't understand that.
Yeah, no, the Dota 2. So Dota 1 isn't even really a game, right? So Dota, it stands for Defense of the Ancients, and it was a custom map in Warcraft 3. Wow. And so somebody used, like we talked about playing StarCraft before, right? Did you play an OG StarCraft, not in 2, but in StarCraft and StarCraft Brood War? You did use map settings games, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Warcraft 3 had the same thing, and so somebody used the Warcraft 3 assets to make what ended up becoming a MOBA, right? What they call a multiplayer online battle action game, or whatever MOBA stands for. I forget anymore, but they called it something like a creep defense game, I think is what they originally called it. And it was like, I'm going to spam these creep to go down this lane, this lane, and this lane, and you could pick a character. And it basically was like the special characters in Warcraft 3, and you could just play them and level them up and do whatever. And so like that became really popular. So the guy that made Defense of the Ancients made his own game, Dota 2, standalone. And then that, like, so all the people that were playing Defense of the Ancients of Warcraft 3 transitioned over to playing Dota 2. And they got is it called the International? It's going to drive me nuts. So I remember what it's called. But that's basically was the first, just like you said, it was the first real big esports organized thing. And it was like the first $1 million pot.
See, that's
because it's huge in Europe.
Blew my mind. Like,
dude.
There's houses in China where every single it's a house that an esports team has purchased and bought, and they audition people to join their esports team. You join it and you go live in that house and you eat, breathe, and sleep esports. And it's like comparative now, like in a competitive academic culture in Asia where you go to school and train, like you can get to the tops of your academic career and get accepted into the gaming into a TSM of sorts, and just like abandon your academic career and no one in your family has shame. Like you just still doing good, kid.
No,
like that part blew my mind because in Apex there are accounts that are Chinese accounts, and like in the beginning of the seasons there was a lot of people talking about it, like there's no way that they earned that many rank points in a 24-hour period because they didn't sleep. It was like always on, and they're sharing accounts. And so like now in North America there's casuals that are like, me and my wife share an account, and I was like, yeah, unless you guys both work opposite hours and you're just really hardcore, I think someone's just sharing accounts here. But that's crazy that you can make that much money in video games without having to have a huge community that contributes to your success. Like this is just you and your skills. You might not even be a streamer. You're just a fucking gamer.
You never heard Base Hunter's Dota song? You never heard that before?
I was so new to when I watched the documentary on Netflix and they showed the gameplay, I was like, that looks just like Smite. I play Smite. I could be on this game. And I went and looked and it was like, I like the arena in Smite. I do not like the tower defense stuff and the big maps and the matches that take forever. And that's basically what Dota was. And I was like, that's not my bag.
Yeah,
It's
man.
like
Never
World of
played
Warcraft. I
one.
wanted to try it. And my boy Scrapping Live got me. I watch him. He has fun. It's enjoyable to watch him play. I downloaded it this like 2 weeks ago. And as soon as I load in, it would kick me. As soon as I would load in, it would kick me. I finally got in and I was able to walk around and I walked up to somebody and it kicked me again. And I deleted everything, re-downloaded it all again. And I was still having the same issue. And I was like, well, it just won't let me play. But the cutscenes in the beginning of World of Warcraft were really, really cool.
Oh, WoW was not bad. It's definitely Fisher Price, my first MMO for sure. Like the way it's built, it's mad easy to play. But
I'm gonna abstain from commenting.
Well, what's an World of Warcraft?
Yeah,
Blizzard period.
I love Diablo and StarCraft too much.
Fights, I will say that they've made the like, I don't know what it is. So you see your little character on the screen, and then they've got like a title above you. It shows your name and like different stuff about you.
Bar,
Well, it's gotten so big, and in the big fights, all you see are name tag blocks moving around. You don't even see the character, and then you see magic shit going off.
If you're watching streamers do that,
someone who doesn't know what's going on. It looks like name tag A is beating name tag B right now, and name tag C. It's like you don't even see the graphics of the game anymore.
If you're watching streamers do it, that's because they have mods on.
Oh,
and that's what that is. And a lot of the times it's like healers do that because
what's going on.
I need to be able to click on this dude's name and heal him like ASAP. So yeah. But like well,
there goes my only criticism. It's just
well, so to kind of back to the Dota talk, right, dude? I told you I started streaming back in like 2011, 2012. The first game I played exclusively on stream was League of Legends.
Oh shit.
The whole reason I found Twitch was because I wanted to watch competitive League of Legends. I wanted to watch the LCS. And I wanted to watch the WCS, which is the StarCraft 2 competitive league. And
did somebody acquire Riot?
Epic, I think.
Epic?
Yeah, because you can play Valorant and League of Legends on the Epic Store now.
Okay. I've never played Valorant.
Yeah. Did you play CS:GO?
Counter-Strike?
Yeah, did you play Counter-Strike?
Go?
Yeah, Counter-Strike
Global.
The
original Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Only.
So, did you play Counter-Strike 1.6 or anything like that? Like those games? Valorant is just anime Counter-Strike. That's all it is.
Okay.
You buy your guns at the beginning of the match, and then you got to buy your guns at the beginning of every round, and you earn more money by winning the rounds than you do not. You can either kill all the enemies or plant the bomb or defuse the bomb or blah 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 blah. I don't like it. I played it. I don't like it. I don't like Counter-Strike though either, so it's not my steez. But
my Asian friend said not to stream it. He said it's right now. If you're not Asian, you don't need to be streaming it. And I was like, really? Is it like an Asian thing? He's like, there's a lot of Asian people streaming it. And I was like,
dude, it is one of the most toxic game bases I think I've ever participated in. That's shit. Really? All the Riot games are. Like I said, I started with League of Legends before I knew anything, right? I found Twitch right after the name change. So like a year after they switched from being Justin.tv, right? And they just became Twitch.tv.
Justin.tv. I remember hearing about it anyway.
Yeah, so they just become that, and they were the exclusive host for Riot's League Championship Series, which was League of Legends Esports back in 2011, 2012. And then Blizzard, they got the rights to host the WCS, which is the World Championship Series, which is competitive StarCraft 2. And I was like, sweet, because that's what I wanted to watch. I came to Twitch specifically to watch high-level esports competition, and that's what I wanted. And back in the day, if you weren't a high-level, esports gamer, you probably weren't streaming because you couldn't afford to buy the hardware that you needed to do it back in the day. It wasn't easy, right? The bar to entry was high back in the day. So there wasn't a ton of people out there making content. But I would watch, league matches. I would just watch two teams with commentary, and I'd watch the guy commentate the teams. Dude, my work gave us tablets. They got rid of our laptops. They gave us tablets. I immediately threw Twitch on there, and I would put it on the little docking station in my truck, and I would put it on and crank the volume up, turn the radio off, and I would just listen to League of Legends commentary while I drove around to customers' houses and stuff. And I was like way in. Like League of Legends was a game I was probably the only game I've spent a lot of money on skins on. And I say a lot, I don't mean like, I didn't go broke, but I probably spent hundreds of dollars in League of Legends.
That is something. The video game, like I've spent a lot of money on several different video games. Like I can look at my Steam account, and I'm probably not even as bad, but like I think in my Steam history, I've spent last I'd figured was like a little over $1,500 or $1,600 in games. Total.
Right.
It's probably more than that now. This has been a year ago or so.
Oh, geez, if I totaled how much I spent to buy games, I don't even want to know that number.
Well, I go by the
in-game cosmetics.
I go by the amount of like points or whatever, because it's like a penny a point, more or less.
Yeah, the points. Yep.
So according to that, I have like 160,000 points or whatever. So that's at least $1,600 I've spent on games. So, but that's when I say that. But that's where I spend my money. I've got a buddy of mine that streams. He streams in the morning. He is a Black Desert guy. Came from Black Desert.
Oh man, yeah.
I think he had said, don't quote me on this, I think he said he spent like $10,000 on this game over the course
no fucking way,
bro. Just no like some ungodly amount. He played it and then had like 20,000 hours in the game. Like had one PC that never shut off. It played the game, auto played whatever, 24 hours a day.
No, nope. Like I said, I spent a few $100 on Riot points to buy skins. There's a character called Riven. She's a top lane solo, like DPS character, and she has one like big ass arm and a sword. And one of her attacks, she like does this like flipping cartwheel attack. So one of her skins used to be Bunny. So she like wore a bunny suit, not quite as like risque as a Playboy bunny suit, but like. It was still like a bunny suit with little ears and a little cottontail thing, and her sword became a big ass carrot, right? So it was kind of cute. It wasn't super lewd, but it was real cute. And I was like, I want that skin, and I bought it. It's like $20. I didn't care. Like I was making money hand over fist at the time, so I didn't give a rip about it. But but the problem is I can't get in that account anymore, and like I spent all this money on shit that I can't even like. I couldn't even show off if I wanted. I don't even know if that version of the game exists anymore until I go back and play. So
I've got a few.
But dudes.
Talking about big spenders, I'm the official content creator for the game Astro Kings, which started off as a mobile game and now is available on Microsoft Store. And we're in Galaxy 42. And it's basically you have to join up and make federations and you fight each other. So in our federation, there's a guy who works in the banking sector. And when you spend money in the game, you get what's called VIP points. And your VIP levels increase, right?
Yeah.
And the only way to move through the VIP is to spend in-game money. You get very tiny amounts through like the missions and stuff.
Yeah, so it's pretty common mechanic.
And your VIP gives you tons of perks that you definitely want, in the game to have. So this guy in our team, in our federation, has spent over $100,000 on it. This is before it was on Microsoft Store. On a cell phone game, and his VIP level was at one point one of the top 20 VIPs in the entire game, right? But we're Galaxy 42, which means there are 42 galaxies before us, with approximately 3 to 6 months in between each galaxy being released. They're now at like over 150 galaxies.
Yeah.
So the guy in Galaxy 42 became one of the top 20 players in the game. Just by spending money, right? Yep. The crazy part about this story, spends all that money on the account, ends up losing interest in the game, and sells the account for $5,000 cash to somebody.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge loss, but just stopped enjoying the game and sold the account. So, and they put it out for anybody to buy. Well, no one on our team was going to spend $5,000 on the game, period. So we merged in with the Japanese server, and someone in our enemies ultimately got his account. And so now they've got one of the top accounts in the game. But that just simply, like, I get it because it's perspective. If I am a middle class American I've got budgets for entertainment, and I can spend money, still get my bills paid, but I can spend money on things that I enjoy. Any kinds of forms of entertainment that they're
Yeah.
going to have it being gaming, right? And that's from my perspective, that's an allotment of money that seems great, right? I'm not being outrageous, I'm not being crazy, but if you go from like the perspective of someone in a third world country, your monthly budget on entertainment would sustain an entire village from
Yeah.
start to finish in all aspects. So I think about it like that, and I think about this guy is making a lot more money than me. He's like
Yep.
some bigwig in the banking industry somehow. So it's that $100,000 is probably equivalent to me bitching about $20 movie tickets, and he's like,
Yeah.
I had to spend $300 on that damn pack so I didn't have to wait 3 months for my upgrades. And it's just like, and like he would say that stuff in the chat, and we're all just like, our minds are just like blowing. I was like, I got three more months for that building upgrade, and he's like 5 upgrades ahead of me, and he just did them all instantly. Like,
That's the gotcha economy.
Yeah, 1%.
Whales, dude, it survives on whales.
Whales. I will say, like, people come in, they look at my setup. I've got like 2 32-inch curved screen monitors and a big table and everything's all spread out, and cameras and whatever. I'm like, I still have like less than $5,000 in like my whole setup. I'm
Right.
like, there's golfers that have more than that in their freaking golf clubs.
Yeah.
When it comes down to, so like, I
As a golfer can confirm.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't feel bad. Like, my hobby is not that expensive. Like, I know people that bass fish, and they'll spend it, go buy a new bass boat, and that's $100,000 or more.
Dude, my buddy we worked with at my last job, he's officially sponsored now. His boats are paid for, his hotels are paid for, and he wins like $100,000 tournaments, bass fishing tournaments. And it's like it went from the days of his wife bitching about how much money he's spending on a hobby to now they're going on vacations and buying expensive and extravagant.
She's pumped that his hobby is taking her to Cancun every other month.
Yeah, she was a nurse and she retired.
Oh yeah, dude. No, I don't, look, man. Don't ever listen. You look. You earn your money, okay, and you spend your money how you want to do. I believe that you should probably set a certain amount of your income aside, regardless of what you make. Like pick a percentage. It doesn't have to be a dollar amount. Pick a percentage of your thing to give to people who need it. Yeah, you should. Right? If you can help other people, you should. I believe that 100%. But I don't think that you should ever feel bad for spending your hard-earned money on yourself.
One of those things is like, this isn't like I don't know. Where I come from, blue collar, pretty much, like, this hobby is not really a thing that they still see it. They still see it as childish. They don't really see it
playing games like a little kid.
Yeah, basically.
Oh yeah.
So that's the way
I come from.
But
homebred and
they'll go spend $10,000 in their Jeeps to rock crawl or whatever.
Oh yeah, no.
Exactly.
No, it's whatever, man. Like everybody's into whatever they're into, and like I said, listen. Does whatever your entertainment is it negatively impacting anybody? Nope. All right then. Like you don't get to talk to me about what I do with my money,
right?
Unless, like I said, unless I'm detrimental to your health or my health.
Yeah,
that's why
when people try to intervene or have little interventions about my gaming, how much I'm gaming or what what I'm doing with my life, I'm like, let me just bring up Exhibit A in our family, Exhibit B in our family, Exhibit C in our family. Nope. I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right.
I always do the same 3 things. I go, am I delinquent on any bills? Nope. My kids got food? Yep. You got a place to sleep at night? Yep. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, it's that simple, right? Like right. None of my responsibilities as a man, none of my responsibilities as a husband, and none of my responsibilities as a father are falling through ever because of the things that I do. And I always make sure that all that's taken care of first. I'll come last every time, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But trust me, man, whatever makes it down to the bottom, you can guarantee believe it. I'm gonna buy me some cool shit.
Yep.
Right.
Or a new pair of shoes.
I need to go buy new shoes.
Because that's my other vice is I like $200+ pairs of shoes all the time.
I can't do that. I'm very practical when it comes to shoes, and honestly, I will shop all day for the $39.99 deal. Something's on clearance, last year's model. I don't give a shit. As long as they're comfortable and I don't have to spend over $100 on a pair of shoes, That's what I'll do.
One day I was at Kroger's and I was wearing sandals and they broke while I was shopping, and randomly there was like a little thing in the middle of the bread aisle that had sandals on it, and so I bought these sandals out of necessity. They were $39.99 for these sandals, and the thing on the side said made by science to make you happier or something, and it's got like feet. Anyway,
Yeah.
I put the sandals on. Holy, were these the most comfortable things that my feet have ever encountered in my entire life? And I've worn them now. This is like 2 or 3 years ago. Mine finally broke while because I hike in them. I go out play. They finally fucking broke, and I go back to Kroger's and they're no longer around. And I was, someone asked me later on, I'm shopping, if I could use any help finding anything. I was like, I wish. The thing I came here for, you guys discontinued. I came here for sandals and you don't have them. And the lady was like, the clearance section, there's one pair left. I don't know what size you are, but go check it out. And sure as shit, they were $4.99. It was the last pair. It was my size. It was men's. And I got them, and I'm wearing them now. But like, if I take my shoes off, if I take my sandals off, where the here's your foot, and the thing for the sandals goes in between your big toe and the toe next to it. So there's like an open gap that I don't know. That gap wasn't there when I was younger. I got that now though. My feet have just formed around the sandal, and so I'm just a sandal person working from home. I mean, half the time I don't shave. I get a haircut every 3 months. I wear sandals around the house, and I don't feel like putting shoes on to go into public half the time. I'm like the local Jesus.
I've never owned a pair of sandals in my life.
Wow.
And I never will ever.
I don't know what happened to me.
Not a sandal person, dude. Never.
I do like some sandals.
Socks. I wear socks and shoes at the beach, bro. Like it's that serious.
Like, I've got a reputation now. My mom's like, for a holiday, she's like, you're gonna need a collared shirt and shoes.
And shoes.
And shoes. Because I'll show up with a collared shirt but sandals on.
Cover them
talons,
player.
Be in the pictures, Mom. Jeez.
Nah, bro. I got here's mine. I'm currently like renovating. Damn shit. Go get back over here, you.
Slides. Nice. Those are convenient.
I got my Jordan 3s, and I got some 1s. I got some Jordan 5s over here. Got a pair of Spizikes that you kind of can't really see. I got a pair of Air Max 90s over there. I got a pair of DCs right here.
Yo, have I brought up to you? I seen a video where there's apparently some shoes. Like, if you just leave them in your closet and you go back to get them, they were expensive as fuck. And when you go back to get them, they just like crumble.
Oh, I've seen it. I don't know if you sent it to me, but I've seen it.
There was like some video of this dude going into his shoe collection. And like one by one, his shoes were just crumbling. And like in the comments, people were like, yeah, you can't just leave them in there. You gotta wear them. You gotta treat them. You gotta do shit to them. And I'm like, and apparently just from watching that video, people who were in the know about shoe prices did the math, and they're like, that guy lost a substantial amount of fucking money.
It was like $25,000 or something, maybe.
It's like, you're gonna invest in shit that much, like getting comic books and leaving your whole collection next to the oven, and you're a baker or something. Like, what do you mean the comic books got damaged?
No, I got. There's a pair of shoes that are coming out on Saturday that I'm gonna buy. They're $215.
Oh my!
And I'm hoping to grab a pair, because the last time, so they did what's called a shock drop on them a couple weeks ago, and I tried to get them. I put my order in 2 minutes after they went live, and I didn't get it.
Oh damn!
So
all right,
I'm
fellas.
Hot off topics.
We are at 2 hours 46 minutes. It is almost 10 o'clock at night. I have to get up at 3:30 a.m. in the morning to go to work.
I was supposed to be live for my stream a long time ago, but I was having too much fun to go do.
No, this has been a blast. It honestly has. I don't really have a problem, but I'm starting to doze off a little bit because I know I gotta get up early as hell in the morning. So right before we leave, though, I'm gonna have so I've got a new deal now where I'm bringing in guests and VIPs, and we're drawing cards, and I'm writing your name.
Oh, all right.
So I'm gonna have you pick a card. I probably can't hang this back up there. I'm gonna have you pick a card. You can just pick any card besides the 4 that I have up there now. Any
I'm a
card.
Joker. I'm the colored Joker.
There's another Joker. Ace of Hearts taken. Queen of Hearts is taken. Of course, main ace. Ace of Spades is taken. So any other card you want?
Dude, give me the Suicide King.
Suicide King of Hearts.
Yeah, man. He also has no mustache. He's the only king that not have a mustache.
True story, right there.
He wants to ask you a question. He must ask you a question, but he can't ask you a question.
Yeah.
And let's see, what colored marker do you want me to write your name in? I got
Green, if you got it.
I do have a green.
Because he's a fan of nature and plants.
Plants for sure. I like plants.
I like plants.
I like plants that make me hungry. I like plants that make me sleepy.
Oh, live update now on the latest Doom rendering. It looks like
NerDadTPC.
Nice.
in 7 days the next
420 blaze it.
frame of Doom will be manifest on gut bacteria. So live
Nice.
update on
Conquest.
I
Doom.
love lamp.
Thank you for hanging in. Thanks for all the chatters jumping in. Thank you, NerdDad, for
Yeah,
stopping
dude.
by the podcast, being our first guest. I'm sure we'll have you back on soon if you ever want to jump in.
Oh
too.
yeah, no. Like, I'm down. I'm gonna have to get you guys on the Gamecast, and we'll have
Yeah.
to chat.
Down.
Yeah,
I'll
for
have
sure.
to get you guys to set up or between the two of you have to pick like a 6 or 7 song playlist of your favorite video game songs
Oh,
D&H
nice.
or video game
Conquest?
inspired songs.
If you're
I'm
interested, I know earlier he talked about he regularly does co-streams. This is CNH Conquest in the chat that he regularly does co-streams with. This is, I think, one of the best podcasts that we've had. The fluidity between us, I think we all kind of meshed really well, especially for our first time. There wasn't any dull moments. The stream had that perfect ADHD kind of rant that we all. I mean, let's be honest. If you don't capitalize on your weaknesses, then they stay weaknesses. And I think we all capitalize on our ADHD abilities. Of course, for anyone who doesn't know, that does stand for Advanced Degree of Human Development. There's a lot of misconceptions out there about
That's
what that stands for.
right there. But yeah, anyway, so this has been
Also stands for a dick, huge dick. Sorry.
This has been
Huge dick.
episode 9 of Intelligent Aces podcast. Thank you everybody for swinging in and saying hi. And thank you, NerdDad. Thank you, Ellipticus. We're gonna sign out. The video should be up on YouTube Saturday, sometime Saturday. I've got to get better at like being. I'm good at the schedule of like showing up for the podcast, but like doing the editing and uploading, I've got to get better at. So hopefully,
Thank you, VOD watchers. We know you're out there.
Video will be up.
Your numbers.
You in the future, tell me, are we flying in cars yet? That's what I want to know. Future watchers, send me a message. Send me a message 10 years from now when you're watching this on an Internet Archive website. Tell me. Send me a text 555-1212.
I haven't looked for anybody to raid. I would raid out normally. I'm too tired. It's too late right now.
If you want to wait a second, you can raid me because I'm gonna stream still. I gotta finish this fucking game, dude. I can't not finish this game. I got it all. It's all turned on and ready to go. I was just when we were done. I'm like, I'm gonna seamlessly transition over to some
any
Final
more
Fantasy.
bases? The /raid, and is there any spaces between your name?
No,
no.
NerDadTPC.
Well, I mean, like, is there a space between raid and your name?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
to type it. So you do /raid and then space in the name.
Yep.
I've never done that before. I always go into the thing and click it.
Yeah, I do too. But you can do it. I've done it on mobile. I've had to do it on mobile before when my computer crashed. So.
Are you started yet?
I just hit live.
Let's fucking go, boys.
So yeah, so if you guys want to come through and hang out.
Raid on
Heck
over.
yeah. He's gonna crash out.
Invalid username.
Brum, 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 brum.
Yeah, guys. No, I would keep going, but like seriously, I'm about to. I can feel
No,
my
you-
Lazy.
You're good, bro. Like I said, I know you guys wanted to keep it to like an hour, and then we just got to jamming on. So no, yeah, we'll have to sometime after I get started with Rebirth. I'm gonna start to try to have regular guests back on the Gamecast. So
Awesome.
Sweet. Heck yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you got
this
me on
was great.
Discord anytime. Just shoot me.
yeah,
a
dudes.
Thank you so much, NerdDad. I feel like this was a huge success. Thank you.
No,
I had a
Chase,
blast.
As always, for hosting us, the Intelligent Aces podcast number 9. It's been a pleasure.
Look for us on YouTube. Read
Peace.
now. Here we go. Going over to NerdDad.
All right. Let me get over there and do the thing so I can get started hosting properly. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for having me on. This is a hoot, man. I like
Great.
this year.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out another episode of Intelligent Aces podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe here on YouTube and go follow us on Twitch and X. And all the rest of our socials will be posted down below. Thanks.